Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Scale Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Dale Luganbill. Thank you for joining me on today's podcast. We have a return guest by popular demand. We'll probably continue to have him on the podcast because he's just a great guest, great conversationalist, smart dude. His brain locks down like facts and tidbits and stuff like that. So I always just really enjoy talking to this guy. So this is Nick A. Johnson, who you have probably heard before if you follow the Full Scale Outdoors podcast. But his brother is going to be joining us, and also he comes in a little bit later and to share some stories. I actually didn't really get into too many stories because we did our usual deviate from our path, but it was a lot of fun. Like we would bring it back around when we needed to. It was I really, really, really enjoyed it. We had a few adult beverages while we did it, but it was great. I really liked it. I think you're gonna enjoy it too. Before we dive into it, we gotta take care of all the business. Make sure you're doing the social media stuff. Oh, one thing, I was talking to a listener just the other day, and they're like, "Oh, I have to have my wife help me, find your podcast." I'm like, "Well, just subscribe to it." He's like, "I don't know how to work this phone." So I'm like, take his phone. Well, first of all, you weren't subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribed to the Full Scale Outdoors podcast. And then you can go into the settings on there and set it to automatically download the episode. So like when you're connected to Wi-Fi, it'll download. And so when you're just sleeping, boom, you wake up. Oh, look, I have a new episode to listen to. And then you'll get it. And that way, selfishly, even if it's an episode you don't want to listen to, let's say you're a duck hunter, you don't walleye fish, and have a walleye episode on, you download it, then just swipe it and delete it. You don't even have to listen to it, but I still get credit for the download, so all right. So, yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Set it to automatically download. Go ahead and give that thing a 5-star review if you would. Leave a review. That'd be even better yet. And share it. Share it with the world. Spread it around. I'd really appreciate it. So ice fishing season is coming up quickly. If you would like to book an ice fishing trip, get a hold of me. You can book it on any of my social media. Get a hold of me there, and we'll find a date that works for all parties and what you want to do, and we can kind of customize it to fit you, and we go from there. Or you can give me a call, 612-209-5438. So give me a call. Let's plan a trip. So, anyways, duck hunting's been great. I won't get into that. Usually I'll give you a little update, but that's in this podcast. We talk about that, our recent hunts, and kind of what we think for the upcoming season, and all sorts of other stuff. This one went over 3 hours, and even after we shut it off because we were like, we just have to, we kept talking in like the doorway. So, as is normal, people that share passions, you just get a little carried away. It's fun. That's why we do it. That's why we talk about it. So here we go. Here's another great one with Nick A. Johnson, his brother Tom, right here on the Full Scale Outdoors podcast.
Oh, here we go, boys.
Go.
Ooh, I love that sound. This is a good one.
Modeo. I'll drink them. I don't know if I've ever had a Modelo. Do they say Modelo or Modeo?
I think it's
only
Modelo.
one L.
Modelo.
Elia. I took like basic Spanish in 8th grade.
Yeah.
That's where the extent of my Spanish began and ended.
Absolutely. I don't know any of it myself.
I could swear a little bit, but that's about it. Yep.
Mota.
Unos. See, I already screwed it up. Dos cervezas, por favor.
Tequila.
Dos más.
When I hunted Mexico, too, God, I wish I knew Spanish because those duck guides were awesome. Like some of the most crazy, amazingly skilled duck guides I ever hunted with was Mexico. And I'm like, fuck, I wish we could tell stories, man.
What makes them skilled guides?
Dude, one day we did a pass shoot on shovelers, like straight shovelers. And
That's sick, dude.
like you're shooting lead 5s out of a skeet.
Oh my
like
God.
they got like skeet chokes in there, and we're pass shooting. And I would like rain a duck like 250 yards into the cactuses. And I was like, yeah, they're not coming back with that bird. And they'd run off and come back like faster, maybe twice as fast as you would assume somebody who just found it right away did.
Wow.
Like you shot like one more duck and you're like, all right.
They just have a tub of them sitting back there.
It was crazy. They would run into the cactuses and be back almost instantly with a duck that you were like, they'd never.
There's no way they're finding
Nah, they're not finding that. They don't use dogs because of all the dog-killing creatures in the swamps of Mexico.
I suppose all the poisonous snakes.
And around the cactuses and all that shit.
Oh, God, I bet that you'd have thorns and paws like crazy. You'd have to have dog shoes.
Yeah, and then all the ducks in the water. No waders, no nothing. Just run out there, pick them up for you.
Speaking of waders, found out today I have a leak in mine. Right in the junk area.
Just
I was
up.
soaked from the dick tip down.
You know, we should almost all just buy those by the 6-pack.
Honest to God, how do people keep? They did not leak last year.
No,
They did not leak the last time I used them. They were put away in a tub and put them on today. We did a little bit of a duck, water shoot this morning, a little impromptu deal.
Oh, nice. How'd you do?
Terrible. I shot one lawn dart, one hen-hooded merganser.
Hen, huh?
Yeah.
Hen hoodie. Nice.
I'm a hen killer from way back.
Cool. Well, hoodies are cool to shoot anyway, so that's a cool duck.
I almost
where were you?
went 3 for 3.
Like generalization area.
Central Minnesota.
Did you see any migrating geese?
One flock.
One flock. Okay, yeah, because I was looking at it last night, and I was like, ooh.
And we worked them.
Oh, really?
And then we missed.
Okay, and I
should have let them go one more time.
Yeah.
But the boat I was hunting out of, the blind for it was obviously the first time it was used this year. And like half of the grass was missing. Well, wouldn't say half, but a lot of it was missing. He usually has some like other camo netting that he puts over like his motor and the bow of the boat. But even still, it's like you're just exposed in the middle. Like he needs stuff to throw over the opening too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he didn't have any of that. I just felt naked. So these geese come overhead, and it was like a 6-pack, and they get over top. I let them get pretty much right over the decoys, which is past us, and then I hit them with the call, and the wings just stopped beating, and they're like, dunk,
nice.
U-shape, doing the big long circles.
Started
but then when
backing.
they would hit the wind, so the wind above must have been blowing a lot harder than down below, because
it
wasn't that bad where we were at. And in fact, so where we were at, we're on the this lake we were hunting kind of runs southwest to northeast, and we have a northwest wind.
Sure.
Allegedly.
Should have been, right?
Right.
Was it?
So the way we
or
were
was it
set
more
up,
west?
Well, the way we were set up, we should have had the wind coming straight over our backs, but it looked like it was coming from the south.
Oh, was it just early morning or what?
I think the whole time, but I think what was happening is that as it comes over those trees, the wind was swirling like an eddy. So that's one thing that kind of conspired against us a little bit, because you could see the geese kind of got a little messed up as they dropped in elevation, and then they were in a head, probably using that northwest wind, and then they turned. They were trying to use the wind to help them get down, but then it was like coming from a different direction. You saw them kind of adjust, and they were getting kind of squirrely. I thought, oh crap, they're busting out, but they were just kind of getting reoriented with the swirling winds, I guess.
Yeah.
But if I'd have just let them come one more pass, they probably would have put down right in the deeks. But they were in range. My first shot was a miss, which I hate to say because I like to think I'm a decent shot, and then my gun didn't cycle. So then I had to immediately eject one, slam it forward again, and then my third shot was just as they were going away, FU shot. And
shit.
Resulted in no dead
I kind of
birds.
got humbled myself my first morning in Saskatchewan.
Really?
Yeah. My first morning there, I just show up like 3 a.m. at the motel, wake up at 5, drive out to the spot. It's like an hour and a half away. And the guy just sits me down. He's like, all right, we're going to have you pass shooting here, on the edge of a swamp. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I don't mind pass shooting. I'm pretty good at it, and it's fun. And
it is fun.
There's nothing unethical about it when you know what your gun and your skill capabilities can
Yeah,
stone a bird at.
It gets a lot of shade thrown at it.
No,
to
dude,
use
it's
some
fun as
young
shit.
terms,
Yeah, I
but it's,
love
you know,
pass shooting. But anyways, like, they sit me down. I'm like, all right, whatever. I enjoy pass shooting. Like, maybe I'll get a couple of cracks here and there. It was like 4 hours of nonstop ducks in range flying
Oh
over
my
me.
gosh.
Every species you can imagine, every species of goose you can imagine, from 3-pound geese to 12-pound geese. And
Emperor geese?
what's that?
Emperors? You said every goose I
No,
can imagine.
no emperors.
Red-breasted?
No emperors. No. Dude, all the divers, all the puddlers.
All the geese and ducks you would
Curiously,
expect.
I didn't see any pintails that morning in that area. But yeah, it was really cool. And the first shot comes around. It's a blue-winged teal just cruising past like 60. Clang. Drained him. I was like, nice, yeah.
How could there be a blue winger?
Because I'm a good shot, dude.
Did those all leave in September?
Yeah, we got a few blue wings
I'm
up
just
there.
kidding.
It kind of surprised me
This is
too.
what
We
you
were
hear.
way northwest Saskatchewan too, way up there, and
Well-
the rest of the day, holy shit, dude, I couldn't hit nothing, dude, nothing.
You
Like
know,
it's an 8-bird limit, dude. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I got it.
well, it's one of
I
those things.
should've.
It's like, and probably a lot of people that play sports can speak to this. Like, and a lot of NFL kickers can for sure. It's like once you kind of miss a few times and you get inside your head, it's really hard to right that ship because you start getting away from your instincts. You start overriding your muscle memory and you start thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get it dialed back in.
When I'm banging a lot of clays all summer and shooting pigeons, that sort of thing, like I'm pretty dialed in on goofy angles, different speeds, different distances, that sort of thing. But yeah, once I started missing, it started going downhill fast. And I was thinking about it. I was like, the last two months I've been hunting geese pretty much now. I'm like, I've been passing up every easy shot this whole year just to take the incredibly easy shot. Like, I've been tripling, like, pretty much. If I want 3 geese, I'll get 3 geese. If I want 1 goose, I get whatever I want to shoot. It's right there. And I'm thinking back of all the shots I've taken. I'm like, yeah, it's probably easier than shooting a balloon.
Yeah. And yeah, not to sound braggadocious, and my buddies will back me up. Well, they probably won't back me up because they're my buddies and they're dicks. But if they're being honest, they would back me up. Pretty decent shot. I mean, we're all pretty good shots, and so we're pretty confident in our abilities. And with that said, I mean, this year I've been shooting extremely well. I mean, my percentage is very high for shots fired and birds in hand. But today was not one of those days. We didn't have that many opportunities at ducks. There weren't that many ducks around. We probably saw like 4 or 5 flocks early, but flying high. They might have been migrating today a little bit. I didn't see any like crazy high though that like screamed migrator. It almost looked to me like the birds that were roosted on this lake may have got up to either feed in a different spot or they're boogieing out or they're making a small move. Because they a straight line.
Well, did you see all the
didn't even look at the
crazy good
decoys.
duck hunts people had in Minnesota Saturday, Sunday this weekend? It was good.
Yes, it was good. Well, the weather was very conducive to duck hunting.
What, the Feet Down Waterfowl pit or
Yeah.
their new dock blind they
Yeah,
got?
dude, that's sick,
I think they
dude.
got 11 species of ducks, like I don't know how many flocks of greasy migrating honkers. Not like crazy.
Greasy migrating
Dude,
honkers.
I saw some videos, man. I was like, whoa, okie dokie. And they're, got a blind on like a pond out there
Dude,
or a
that
lake,
blind
and it's
is
right next to one of those
sick.
big roosts. And yeah, I think they got 11 species ducks, like every canvasbacks and buffleheads, cool
Ooh,
divers.
cans are
And
down.
then just a couple hours ago, I talked to the guys I was hunting with in Saskatchewan. It's like, hey, did you hunt any days after I left? I got home Wednesday, and he said, well, Thursday we went out and checked that same spot that we had that crazy hunt on. It's like, yeah. And he goes, there was more birds there than when we hunted it. And I was like, dude, there was like a 7-acre raft of canvasbacks.
Wow. And so
I
when
don't know.
was this? How recently?
We hunted that on Monday, so that would have been Wednesday, so 9 days ago. And then last Wednesday,
the 16th today.
yeah, so 1 week ago, Wednesday, I got back home. We hunted that Monday. And then Tuesday, I didn't hunt. And Wednesday, I flew home at like 5 a.m. And I asked him. He said he scouted it Thursday, and there's more birds there. When you get into like the tens of thousands of birds, you're like,
it's hard.
like,
When you start
I
getting
don't
to those
know.
kind of numbers, you're like, 1 metric fuck ton.
I don't. Yeah, there was like a couple few acres of whites, couple few acres of darks, 20,000 canvasbacks, assorted other divers everywhere you look. I don't know, like that's craziness
Yeah,
in
that's a
Saskatchewan. That was my first trip
And
there.
a lot of people were freaking out with that snowstorm in the Dakotas. That like, well,
that hit the day
there
I
goes
left
the
too.
there
Yeah.
goes the season. Like all the birds are gonna blow right past the Dakotas. I'm like, or they're gonna stay in Canada.
Yeah, they do sometimes. Like,
But it's gonna melt. It sounded to me, from what I've heard, most of the snow out in the Dakotas, even though they got a lot, it sounded like, is your bro here?
I can hear a shitty car rolling up, dude.
I can hear a shitty car. Nick's brother is going to be joining us. So, so what I was saying is like most of the snow drifted out there. So it's not like it's blanket, and it's not like
Right,
a foot or
right.
2 feet of blanket snow everywhere, and the fields are going to be inaccessible, blah, 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 blah. Sounds like most of the fields are windswept bare, and so now you get some warm days in that October sun, it's going to burn that right off.
That makes a huge, huge difference. I mean, the prairies of Saskatchewan, if you get cold enough, like light enough snow and a little wind, it blows right off, especially hilltops, and it just collects in the ditch.
Well, the thing is going for it, the ground was still warm when they got that snow, so chance of it sticking aren't good. All the water is open. It's not cold enough to freeze, so they have water, they have access to food, they have zero reason to migrate. And yes, there was some reports of snows in Missouri already, but I think the majority of them are still
Oh, yeah, like
in Canada.
can't remember, it was like 4 or 5 years
ones
ago.
are
There was like a
yours.
25-inch snowstorm that rolled across Saskatchewan, early October. And my buddies had trips planned for like October 10th, that time frame or whatever, and they were super nervous. Like all the birds would bail, and nope, just had some kind of shitty road conditions when they got up there. They're all still there. And I don't know if the birds just know it's early enough to where like it's kind of a freak occurrence, and they can sit it out.
I think they definitely have an internal calendar rocking, and because it seems like give or take a few days, a week or whatever, they kind of migrate through the same time every year, unless a giant major, really, really early cold snap that locks up Canada, because that's the thing that'll move them.
How do your engagement picture goes?
Good.
All right.
You engaged?
Yeah,
Why would you do that?
it's life.
Why you talk? You watched what he went through.
All the warning signs were there, man. I mean,
Oh, they were fun. And we went and got some black sheep pizza.
you want to pull that sucker about one fist there from your face.
There you go. Yeah, it doesn't
Little
have to
Joe
be
Rogan
touching
quote.
with- Yep. Just make sure there's enough room to get that beer in there, and you're good.
Well, yeah, I did invite Tom to come join us because me and Tom are like some road trip warriors, and you always end up with one or two ride or dies in your crew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can call, like, this person, they're ready to go. I got two of those people. I got Joe Heinz. Like, I'll call Joe, like, hey, man, do you want to go to Colorado in 72 minutes from now? And he's like, yeah, I'm putting socks in a bag right now, Like, let's do it.
Great, let's go.
So, and yeah, Tom's my other one too, and we've done some crazy shit.
It's not quite that extreme, but the hunting crew that I hunt with now, it's pretty much developed because of that kind of mentality. It's like, I got kind of a dumb idea. You want to hear it? Yep.
we should go out here and see if there's birds there. Yeah, let's do it. Work's gonna be mad at me.
And it works with. And you guys you're a specialist. I don't know about Tom, but like you only pretty much waterfowl hunt, and pretty much primarily goose hunt. Even with you don't duck hunt a ton, right? I mean, from what I can see.
No, I don't.
Mostly
No, that's
goose
fair
hunting.
to say. That's fair to say.
So, but I'm a all around, so we'll do stupid stuff, fishing stuff, like, hey, you want to drive 3 hours one way to go fish this lake that I heard has giant whatever in it and then drive home? Yeah, fuck it, why not? It's a long day, we'll be tired, but whatever.
Well, one night me and Tom were driving to my mom's house in mid-April, probably. It was like a Friday night, I think. She invited us for dinner. Like, yeah, we'll come up there. And then I was like, there's probably a few snow geese left in the United States, dude. You know that, right? Like, we're driving up. It's 6 o'clock. It's, like, getting dark already on a Friday night. He's like, yeah. He's like, you think you could get the snow goose decoys out of storage? I'm like, probably, man. I mean, I don't know. Let's eat dinner and think about it. Like, flash forward 6 hours, and we are looking for snow geese in North Dakota. Well, we drove through the night and that sort of thing. And that's a weekend. What did we get, like 110 or something?
Oh, yeah, that was a great
Jesus.
weekend, yeah.
Yeah, that ended up being an awesome fucking weekend, man. We ended up in Nowheresville just looking for snow geese. Bang! Found a pod. We go out there.
Like kind of later in the migration? So
Super late.
Yeah, so you're dealing with
Super
like
late.
isolated pods of
Yes.
super patternable geese.
Well, we
Yeah.
found him. And then we were like, high five. Got on the field. Went to the motel, took a nap, came back. There was a spread set there. Somebody got out there like a couple
Damn
hours
it.
before us. Anyways, they're super cool guys. I said,
Oh,
look,
okay.
I was like, hey, man, you guys beat us here. And fair is fair. We play by the golden rules, you know. And can we join you? They had like a quick huddle. Like, what kind of like concealment you got? I said, well, we got layouts and white hoodies and ghillie blankets. And I looked, that's what they all had. And I was like, we're
Perfect.
in. Yeah. Shot 110 geese with those guys that weekend. Had a great
Nice.
time.
How many total guns?
5, right? There was like
Maybe
3 of them.
Maybe 6. I can't.
Maybe 6. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
for
I can only
5, 6
remember
guys.
Bob for sure, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And me and Tom actually have super good luck, like getting in on groups or like permission. Like, you remember that Western trip?
Yeah.
Like, when you show up as a 2-person team, or like, hey, we're brothers, we're from Minneapolis, we're 800 miles from home, just putzing around looking for geese. People are like, give me your guys' phone number, you know? Like,
We've
well,
had that happen a couple times.
yeah, it's a little bit more difficult, I found, when you're like, hey, man, I'm from Minnesota, and me and my 10 high school friends are out here
Right,
hunting.
yeah.
You don't get, and it actually has been quite incredible, like the amount of cool shit we've been able to get on, because it's just like a brother team.
I think it's way more chill than those large group. You know,
Yes.
where you got 8 to 10 guys out there. I mean, it's like
And
everybody's
are
stepping on each other's dicks.
Yeah, I have
and
the
trying
same
to-
reservations too. And I'm like, we're gonna join forces. Like, how many guys they got? Because we
Yeah.
already have 4.
Well, if you got to
Like,
do
what
it,
do
you
they
got to
got?
do it, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
Better
and
than
there's
not
been a
hunting.
few times. Yeah, it's like we're fighting over the same field. What are we gonna do? Set up in different spots and call it the same birds? That's just stupid.
Yeah, no,
Everybody's
absolutely
gonna be
not.
pissed off. So it's like, yeah, we have to hunt with 12, 15 guys because we're combining 2
Mm-hmm.
8-man groups, and that's what we have to do. But that's definitely not preferred in my book. I just don't. I don't know. I like
I mean,
groups.
the big groups are fun after the hunt in the hotel, or if you shoot a ton
Yeah,
of birds,
yeah.
you know,
When there's
you know,
a mountain of birds.
Yeah.
The pile pick
Yeah.
is
The
epic.
pile pick, the
Yeah.
amount of volleys you can do, and also like the bar afterwards, just yucking it
Yeah.
up with 10 guys who are super enthusiastic like you are.
Especially if they start, buying rounds of drinks.
Yeah. Yeah, that
absolutely.
never
By the time
hurts.
it gets to your turn, they're all passed out. You got the drink free all night.
Or they come in and eat all of the food that you brought because they
Yeah,
didn't bring any of
whatever,
their own
that's
food.
Yeah, me and Tom have been on a trip like that. We got, oh man, we did like a 24-person group in a 5-bird limit zone, and yeah, we were getting it.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a struggle that day. But I mean, we were rotating people in and out, and
Yeah, we were just,
Yeah.
running a certain amount of blinds. You come in, shoot your birds.
Sure.
It's like 4-wheeler the guys back and forth.
Yeah. Well, before we get into like super storytelling time, I wanted to kind of get like a mid-season recap, like stuff you've done successful or unsuccessful this year, places you've been, like where you're at right now in the season, and then like what you're planning and like what you're forecasting for the upcoming season or the rest of the season.
Well-
Here, I'm talking here like in the upper Midwest, Minnesota, whatever.
It's been a fantastic season for lots of people all around.
Agreed.
And it was not like that last year. I mean, that's a pretty big testament to how a good hatch can affect the season. Like last year we had a horrible hatch. And I'm talking geese. Like,
Yeah.
if you primarily
Canada
hunt ducks,
geese, yeah.
you're like, what are you talking about? Because ducks have been consistently good for like the last 3, 4, 5 years, and we've been consistently wet. So duck hunters are having good times, and goose hunters are just punching their teeth out.
For other people in other parts
Last
of the
year,
country.
that is.
Yeah, for us here in Minnesota, the honker hatch was terrible because we had a really late snowstorm.
It wasn't just us, man. It was
Yeah, it was a
people
large
hunting-
swath of North
snow
America.
geese and
But it dumped a lot of snow after geese
Yeah.
had already clutched.
and then the
so
tundra,
those are
tundra
gone.
hatches got wiped out left and
Yep,
right.
yeah.
Dude, every single guide service up and down the Central Flyway hunting
Yeah, the
small
snows
geese were
was
like, fuck.
yeah, snow geese was not good last year. at
No,
all.
it was not.
And this year, what I've heard is the snow goose hatch is average, which
I've
is
been
a
hearing
lot.
better than that.
But what I've heard is the Ross goose, the hatch was like off the charts this year.
Nice. I'm going
So,
to California to hunt 'em.
Roskies, reckless, and inexperienced. Yes, please.
Yeah.
They are so reckless. Man, can some Roskies save a day?
They can. And I always talk to people. It's like they're not necessarily decoying a lot of times. They do this. They fight each other or they chase each other. You ever see those where they're just in like the dog fight and
God, they're cute little
zipping around
motherfuckers.
and they're just going, and then suddenly they're in range. Like they're not decoying. You can tell you're watching them. Like they're only concentrating on what they're doing. They're dipping and diving. They're
having
flipping and
fun
they're
in a
chasing
way,
each
yeah.
other. Whatever they're doing, whether they're fighting or playing, I don't know. But all of a sudden look, there's 2 Roskies at 35 yards. We should shoot these.
Roscoe's fun fact.
Fun-
Guess what state?
You got to do the Rogan thing. There you go.
Yeah. Guess what state winters the most Roskies?
Winter's the most Ross?
Yes. Where do the most Roskies, the highest concentration, most population, what state do they
Well, I
winter
would have
in?
normally said like Arkansas or Louisiana, but you just mentioned something on the West Coast, so I'll say California.
California, yeah.
See, I pay
Dude,
attention
and
sometimes.
also no Roskies breed on the Pacific Flyway.
Well, that would make sense why they have separate success rates. They must have a separate breeding area than most snows.
Yeah, well, the Roskies go to California from like the west side of Hudson Bay, the northwest side of Hudson Bay. They cut like straight west across the
They
country.
They crisscross.
They crisscross and they go across the Rocky Mountains to get there.
That's crazy.
What the fuck?
That's crazy.
That's bizarre, isn't it?
That is.
There's not a single Ross goose nesting on the Pacific Flyway.
Yeah, you think,
Alaska
I think
or
that'd
nothing.
be a lot easier.
Nothing.
Like the Brants do. But hey, I'm glad they do it because man, I like shooting them things. They do save. They have saved many a day. Where you've had like if you're just counting your snows, it's like 2, and then you have 15 Rossies. Like, yeah, baby.
That was one year in Devil's Lake.
Yeah.
Just a couple of Roskies saved the whole weekend. Like, at least that happened.
Yeah,
Thank God, or that was
they are
such a
reckless.
bad idea.
They are reckless.
Yeah,
They-
they can turn your trip from miserable
Yeah.
to, hey, there was those 2 flocks of Roskies that were.
And they're cool.
They're cool. I dropped one off at the taxidermist here that I shot last spring. That I picked up my mallards from last year, and then
They're super cool.
I had the rhino Rossi. So you're a goose dork. You know a lot of odd facts.
Yeah, I
so
do.
My taxidermist said that the warded up ones, which I just thought was a genetic whatever, he said those are the males.
I have never heard that.
That was
no.
the first time I'd heard it
No,
too. And I don't
I've
want to get in
never
an
heard
argument
that.
with the taxidermist. I feel like he should know.
You would think.
'Cause he's a
like,
master
yeah.
taxidermist.
If a
Like, he's been
taxidermist
doing
that I
it, he's won-
respected said that to me, I'd probably shut up and just be like, I should Google that later.
That's exactly what I did because he's won like every award you can
Yeah,
win.
this guy probably knows
He's
a lot about
president-
birds.
I think he's like president of the Minnesota Taxidermist Guild or whatever it is. Mike Penzimas.
Okay,
You know,
cool.
So I was like, wow, I need to look into that, and I haven't. So I was just throwing it out there now if that's a real thing or not. If we had a young Jamie, I'd have him look it up, but we don't.
You know what? I don't know if this is 100% true. I've been led to believe it is my whole life, is that it's an age thing.
That's what I've heard too.
But if I had to guess, it's probably a combination of age and genetics,
yeah,
Yeah,
but it could be, if you think about it, it could be sex. I mean, because a lot of things
I'm sure
that
there are
have
dudes.
ornate stuff growing out of them end up being sexually dimorphic, or if that's the right word.
Perhaps.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Antlers on a deer is the most obvious one.
Right. And, I mean, I'm sure there's guys out there that have shot Roskies that have a 20-year-old band on it and a smooth bill.
Right, yeah.
And I'm sure there's guys that have shot 4-year-old ones with the giant warded up
So
nasty.
this one's cool. He
Nasty
was like
beak.
a rhino. He had 2 of
Yeah,
them.
they
It
call
looked
them
pretty
rhino
cool.
horns.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I was like, that's a good one for the wall.
They're
Because I
cool.
shot one
They're
years
unique.
ago like that, and then didn't think anything of it. I thought, it was like shortly after I started snow goose hunting. So I was like, that's cool. I couldn't really afford to get one mounted back then, so I was like, didn't do it. And I thought, these are pretty common. And then I haven't shot one again until last year. I'm like, this one's going on the wall.
Have you ever seen a blue Ross? Have you ever touched one?
I personally have not touched one, but
Okay.
one of the guys in my hunting group, Austin, shot one last year, I believe, and that's only his second year of snow goose hunting. What a dick.
I've touched one. Have you?
No, I've never touched one.
Okay.
I want
But you've
one.
also touched a
I want
blonde
one.
mallard.
Yeah, I've touched a blonde mallard too.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I've seen one blue Ross and I've seen one neck collar fall on a spread. And I have 0 snow goose bands on my lanyard. Son of a bitch.
I have a couple. Actually, I have 3.
I probably should have 3, but as luck would have it, like
Well, yeah, you
You're
didn't
doing
get
the
the draw
draw.
or whatever.
Yep.
Well, okay, so that's for me the only ones I have without question I shot. 2 of them were solo adventures.
nice.
And the one was just me and another guy. He shot the one on the right. I shot the one on the left. The one on the left was banded. So there's 0 controversy. No drawing. That's the only way I get bands is if there's not a draw involved because I have the worst dumb luck possible.
The coolest thing about shooting a snow goose band too is you're like, well, this thing ain't a local. And
this was banded.
yeah, no, it's so cool because it's gonna tell a cool story.
Yeah.
And you're just like, sweet, dude. I wonder how old this fucker is. I wonder where it came from. Like, you're about to see something cool when you report a snow
Yeah.
goose band.
I'm sure you've seen that one that was just been floating around social media. The one that was banded in 1989 or something. That Canada goose. I think it was a Canada.
Yeah.
It's like 87 or 89 or something like that. It's like
Next.
32 years old. That's ridiculous.
You
You don't believe it? You're not buying it?
we can move on to the next topic on that one.
All right, fake news. He's calling it.
Yeah.
He doesn't
When
wanna
you can
talk
buy
about
these
it.
bands on eBay,
I don't know.
Well, there is
I don't know.
that.
I don't
There
know.
is that.
Here's
I'd
what I
have to
feel
look
like.
into the source, but that's old.
I don't
If it's
know.
true.
I mean, if they
You
could
can-
read it when they pulled it off the goose, I'd say
That's
it was
a good
fake.
point. That was
I'd
one
say
of
it
the
was
first
fake.
things I looked at. I was like, that doesn't look very worn.
Yeah.
'Cause I've seen some really worn bands.
Any one of us could be at some family reunion or crazy uncle's house someday and be like, I shot a goose and it had a metal thing on its leg, and it's in the drawer right there. And
True.
you like, show me that thing, dude. That'd be cool as shit. And then you see it and you're like, did you call this? Did you call it in? Like, no, you had to mail them in those days. And you're like, all right, let's get on my fucking phone right now and get some social media
Did you have
shit
to
going.
actually mail them in back in the day? Is that how
Yeah,
it
you
was?
did have to mail them in back. You had to actually
Crazy.
flatten them. You had to flatten them out and then mail them in.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a whole lot. That's a whole lot. And then you didn't get them back, I suppose.
They did send them back.
Oh, they did.
They should have, yes. They said they were going to. I've heard some people say that they didn't a couple times, but
Huh.
I guess, yeah. Dude, all those old timers, like, you ever seen a dude with a duck rope? Like, of all duck bands? Like a duck band lanyard? Just go to World Duck Calling Championships in
Wow.
Stuttgart, Arkansas, and walk around. There'll just be some guy with a cane. He's walking around with his, cut down he used since 54. And, yeah, that guy has
Wow.
the most juicy lanyard
Just-
you've ever seen in your life. Not a damn goose band on it.
Wow.
Just straight
Straight
like
ducks.
mallards. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Like,
crazy.
what-
How many fucking ducks have you killed, old man?
Or what about the other crazy story that I saw in recent weeks? The radio or Geo tracked spec.
Tom, you seen that? I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I texted to you.
Was that, I thought they just said light front. I don't think they said spec.
White front.
Oh,
White,
yeah,
that is
yeah,
a spec.
yeah,
white
yeah.
fronted.
Yeah,
Greater,
greater
I just
white
glanced
front.
at-
Greater
yeah.
white
I
front.
just
Somebody
looked at
else
the
was telling me
glance
they were
at it.
like, I heard the story about a crane.
Okay.
I was like, okay. He's like, it reached 93 miles an
Yeah.
hour in Western. Now you're talking about the
You're
white
talking
front.
about the white front. So isn't that so? I remember reading an article like, "What's the fastest waterfall?" Back in the day, and all the speeds are like in the 20s or something. I think they said it was a canvasback or something like that. I don't remember. Clearly, that's ground speed because
that's what the jet stream's for.
yeah, this white front just blew that out of the wall, broke that record by a long shot.
that'd be interesting as
93
shit.
miles an hour.
Let's read it.
It is.
I've got it saved.
Yeah,
Do you want-
read it. Yeah, read it verbatim because it's amazing.
It was posted. All right. So a little background. Louisiana has some grant money to do some really cool geo tracking banding on greater white-fronted geese or specklebellies. So what they're trying to find out is what kind of habitat they prefer in their wintering grounds. And the reason they're doing this is because 80% of all specks in the world used to winter in Louisiana, down in the coastal marshes. Now they think it's about 35%
Oh wow.
that are wintering in Louisiana, and they're trying to figure out why this trend is happening. Like why
Whether nesting
and this is just
somewhere,
like
roosting somewhere else or wintering. I mean.
From like 10 to 15 years, this has changed. It's been quick. the specs are moving around. And so they got a bunch of money to put these super high-tech neck collars on greater white fronts.
Juicy.
And so, yeah, I guess, 36% winter in Louisiana. Most of them are now using Arkansas. And people don't know exactly why. I don't know. People study birds for, like, global warming trends and whatever, like weather. They want to find out why animals do what they do because it says something about
the environment,
ecology.
or it could possibly.
Yes, exactly. So anyways, they've been tracking one of these. They put them on females too. They want to know where they nest, and adult females. So exact wordage is, our first radio-marked white front is back in Louisiana. She arrived in Alberta from her nesting location in Alaska 24 September, departed Saskatchewan 8:50 a.m. October 6th, flew nonstop 1,541 miles, reaching a top speed of 93 miles per hour over western North Dakota, stopped for 4 hours near Hickory Ridge, Arkansas, and settled into northeast Louisiana at 2:51 p.m. on 7th of October, 1,732 miles in 30 hours, and well over 11,000 miles in 11 months since I captured her. Amazing birds, amazing technology, amazing assemblage of donors, volunteers, landowners, blah, 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 blah.
Like that, like, put me on my head as far as, like, what I thought was capable. Now, we've always heard, like, you know, in the spring when you're doing the spring snow goose hunts in Dakotas, there's specks everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
In the fall, I know some guys shoot a few, but it's nothing. I mean, nothing like it is in the spring. And I've always been told that they blast right through North Dakota when they migrate, and there's pretty good proof that, yes, they do. Like,
yeah, they kind of almost go from like a coastal marsh to a coastal marsh in a couple of days.
Yeah.
You know, they're up in like the
she stopped
tundra
for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick
got
bite.
Got some water and a bite.
Quick bite, rest stop, and away we go. Like, that's insane.
Well, dude, you know the migrator hunt we had? Me and Tom were cleaning those birds, and they were skinny as shit.
Yeah, they were.
Did you have the same birds?
Yep.
Yeah, I
No
noticed
fat
that.
on them whatsoever.
Those birds, we couldn't kick them out. They're just eating so hard.
Yeah, they landed and immediately started eating grass.
I've seen that many times. And you
we're
can't
like,
kick them out.
Yeah, literally, we like tried. They came back 3-4 times. We finally just let them sit in the spread as we picked up.
Dude, snow goose hunting, you see that all the time. You go out to Wendy's for lunch, you take a quick nap, you come to the spread like 2.5 hours later, there's geese there. And they're just eating.
Yeah.
You're like, where are you from?
What
were you doing?
Bro?
Where were you 6 hours ago?
Hungry.
Yeah.
But I have been noticing more and more fat on the birds that I'm cleaning.
Right.
Which is good because I've actually been like trying to get as much of that fat as I can because I'm rendering it down and because it's awesome for
you
cooking.
Fucking weirdo.
Awesome
man.
for cooking, dude. It's the best cooking medium out there. Goose fat, duck fat, it's the best.
You're the type of guy that makes your own gin and grows psychedelic mushrooms, dude.
Not yet. I don't like gin. Psychedelic mushrooms are fun, but I don't grow those.
Just foraging everything, man.
I do.
And like rendering your own goose fat. Who the fuck does that?
It's not that hard. It's just,
yeah, all right, yeah, that's
and it's good. And you know what you get
nothing.
when you render out goose fat from like skin, little strips of skin? Goose cracklings when you're done. A little bit of salt. Oh, they're good.
Goose cracklings like pork rinds.
Nope. crispy fried up waterfowl skin. It's delicious. And then I get to use that duck and goose fat for cooking.
I do maple goose sausage and jalapeno cheese.
So I've been grinding a lot of my birds this year.
Yeah, I do burger.
With burger because then you can use it for anything. Chili.
Dude, I eat burger or
tacos,
goose burger every day.
Any kind of hot dish casserole, whatever you normally put hamburger in, you just use that. It's a great.
What's
way
your
to use
ratio? What are you using for?
Do like a third.
33%.
Yeah.
Of what exactly?
Beef, ground beef.
Ground beef.
High fat.
Okay, all right.
The highest fat ground beef I can get.
Yeah, I do like 40% beef fat is what I just tell the butcher for all my burger. And the reason I do burger is, you can cook it in everything.
Now, it's a more work, but the legs and thighs I'm finding I'm starting to cut those out now.
Oh,
Because
yeah, I
they're
do too.
So good.
I smoke those.
So I
Remember
I
all
just
those
slow cook 'em.
Snogies?
Yeah.
Low and slow, like braised shanks. Basically, I use basically the same recipe I would for braising deer shanks or lamb shanks or whatever. Brown them, throw them in a pan in the oven at like 320 for 4 or 5 hours, or however long it takes for that meat to just start falling off the bones. Then you do that, and then all the drippings and stuff in there. You make a gravy out of that, and it's just phenomenal. It's
Nice.
tender. My wife just loves it, and she's not a wild game, in air quotes, person, but she loves it.
What day did we hunt where we shot the migrator and you cooked it for your
Barbecue.
It was the wedding party barbecue, right?
Yeah.
How'd you cook that? Explain that, because
I just
it looked
grilled
perfect.
I just grilled it to rare. That's all I did.
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
marinated it in Dr. Pepper for like 4 hours. You know, I cut off the bird, threw it in Dr. Pepper,
Had a nice color to it.
and it caramelized up nice, and it
Nice.
just the breast, and just threw them right on the
It
grill.
was awful.
It was terrible.
It was awful. It was like we didn't know how good it was going to be.
No, it was-
Seriously,
That's hilarious.
terrible.
Yeah.
Like that was the when I've heard people say oh, Goose is like eating an old boot. No, the fuck it's not, dude. I love Goose. Are you kidding me? This Goose was a leather boot, and I had no
And that was rare, and it was still
yeah,
tough.
I mean, it was rare. I mean, it was as red as this. You know, in the center was cold pink center still. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, and I've never tried a tougher piece of goose, and I was wondering.
Those
Like-
were the migrators.
They were migrators, but with the molt flocks, not only do you get, they're mostly like 1 and 2 year old geese. Sometimes you get those 19,
32-year-old
20. Yeah, I'm 32. Yeah. You get those 19, 20-year-old geese in there too, because they don't breed any longer.
Sure, yeah.
And they don't fucking have any. A non-breeding goose that's old is going to have the same
Yeah.
behaviors as a
You know what?
non-breeding goose that's young.
That makes sense, because even like an old cow or an old chicken, just to take I have chickens. So if I butcher an old hen because it's, it's not laying anymore, and now it's just a waste of me feeding it, you can't fry that. That's going to be tough. It's not going to be, you're not going to enjoy it.
Well-
you have to slow cook that.
Well, here's something. I was talking to a guy this weekend, and what he does with his pheasants is he does that Instapot, and that's a pressure cooker.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I was like, and he's like, and then he just shreds them, and he says it just falls off the bone.
Yep.
And then he just turns it into chili. But I was like, that might not be bad for a goose or a duck. I mean, not a goose because you've never fit it in
Yeah.
there.
Well, I've had pulled,
Goose. Or
goose, if you would. And then you throw barbecue sauce in it, and they make great sandwiches. I mean, they taste great. You cook anything long enough, it'll break. You can.
Yeah.
It'll break down. And you
I
can
made
eat it.
pulled goose so much that I started I would put it in the pot before work, like crock pot,
Yep.
shred it after or whatever. I was starting to come home from work and wanting to vomit from the smell, because I've
You
ate
gotta
pulled
mix it
goose
up, yeah.
70 days in a row now.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. Can I please stop eating pulled goose? It's like all I used to do,
Right.
And then I found out goose burger costs $1.95 a pound. Yeah.
Yep, we're doing that.
Yeah, that's what's
That's
happening
what
to
we're
these.
doing.
And also, I've cleaned so many birds now at this point, and I typically hunt migrators, which 1 to 2 year old geese are usually very good, super delicious meat. And I just this is for me. This is for the guys at work.
Right.
I separate out the good stock or whatever. So you get that made into some burger. Delicious.
I think you could probably still get away, even with an old goose, of just slicing it really thin with the grain, so along the bias it's called, and cooking that however, flash fry. I do that for when I make goose tacos or goose fajitas, and they're so good. And I have not noticed a difference between any kind I do it. 'Cause
What
it's
about
so
a
thin,
Philly
it can't really
cheesesteak?
get tough. That would probably work.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah.
That probably would work really well.
Fuck
Actually,
though, that would
On a
cook
flat top.
on a flat top.
Yeah.
Yeah, with some cheese over it.
You
throw
only cook it for
30 seconds.
30 seconds aside. You kind of toss it. You don't. I mean,
Yeah, goose. It would. Gosh, that stuff's so.
and
lean.
I'm talking like a 1/4 inch thick, super thin, because it doesn't have the ability to get tough and tighten up as you put that to heat. You can just see that
Yeah.
meat shrink up, and especially when you cut it along the bias like that, it can't.
Dude, goose
shrinks
is
up the other way.
It is so healthy too. Goose is so healthy. I'm saying, obviously, I don't have the nutrition chart in front of me,
Chart, yeah.
but I love that meat.
Well, it ain't
it's
pu- it
there's
ain't pumped
no
the
fat.
hormones.
There is no fat in it,
Yeah.
and even a guy I guided with, I saw him one season, then the next season I went back out there guiding. I was like, what the hell, dude? You're shredded. What did you do? He's like, well, I guided for 6 months and I ate goose. And
Well, it's high in protein, or like the protein per gram.
he was eating like 2 geese a day for 6 months.
Wow.
And working out. But that's
Yeah.
high protein, no fat. It's basically like straight lifter material.
Yeah.
And that dude lost like 70 pounds and got
Straight
cut.
keto.
And like he got a Snap Fitness fucking, you know, and then killed geese and ate geese every
awesome.
single day. But
Cool. What were we talking about again?
I have no
You
idea.
just went way down a rabbit hole. We were trying to get it. We started with like a mid-season recap, I think, and somehow we ended up talking about Snap Fitness and shredded dudes. I don't know how we.
It always ends up back there.
It always ends up on shredded dudes. I don't know. What do you want to talk about then? Mid-season recap.
Mid-season.
Everybody's doing
Everybody's
good this
doing
year on
pretty good.
geese. Reports on snow goose QV ratios are very good. I've been to 2 different Canadian provinces. I've been to 3 states so far. Looking at another 4 to 5 states for the rest of the season.
I've only got 2 states, but we're headed to North Dakota next week.
So should be a good year, man.
Looking forward to that. Got my Swan tag. Hopefully, I
Wait,
had
where?
one last year too.
North Carolina?
North Dakota.
Oh, all right.
So I'm
Not as cool.
pumped. I didn't get one last year. Hopefully, I get one this year because I'm just like ready for the social media hate.
I've never killed a swan. I
Neither
have
have
had the permits. I used to get them. You know, you just get it every time.
Yeah, if you apply for it, you're almost guaranteed to get it, even though it's a lottery, because it's usually surpluses. The surpluses go like not that many people apply for it, which is why you're almost guaranteed to get it if you do apply. But then the surplus is the day they go on sale or sold like that. It's like, why don't you just apply?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people are like me and Tom, and they're not planning their
Just
trip.
on a whim, they're like, hey, you want to
Yeah.
go?
For
Let's
like
see if there's any
1 hour.
tags left.
There is one tag that me and Tom are planning on every year from now on, that Emperor Goose tag.
Is that like a preference point thing, or is it just straight lotto?
Straight lotto.
That would be so cool.
I know.
Those things are badass.
So we got a brother agreement that if he wins the Emperor tag, I'll go up and take photos of the hunt and vice versa, and we'll keep applying.
That's cool.
It's got like a less than 1%.
Yeah. What's it
Success.
cost to apply?
Not that much.
No.
But you're going to lose.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like money out the door. Money to dream. So that tax service I brought my birds to, he has an Emperor in there. I think
nice.
it's a game farm one, I'm pretty sure, but
Oh, okay.
still, when you just see that thing, you're like, that
Gorgeous,
is
dude.
just unbelievable.
That's like the closest to the Nini goose you can get, I would say.
These things are cool. I don't know. My personal
it back
favorite
from Hawaii.
goose is the redbreast. They're like the smallest goose species.
There's an African pygmy goose.
Okay, we'd have to double check. Should I go to
The
Google?
motherfucker's like a
Maybe
quarter pound.
Maybe it's smaller. But the redbreasts, they're basically like they're the goose version of a harlequin.
Okay, and where's like their wintering and summer grounds?
It'd be like northern Europe.
Okay. The European geese fascinate me. What I really want to see in real life is a lesser white-fronted goose. In North America, we have greater white fronts. In Europe, they have lesser white fronts, which are speckle bellies that are the size of a Ross goose.
It's currently classified as vulnerable, endangered population decreasing. So that's not good. They are cool looking. Let's see here. Description.
Have you seen those European goose hunts, Tom?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them.
What have you seen?
Just piles of geese. It's like those Saudi guys when they go out and goose hunt, you know.
Yes, yes.
You know, you need that Saudi prince money
For sure.
You got the oasis in the desert, and
I
you're
could
just
use some of those. I
Yeah.
could use some of that money. Okay, so it's in the Branta species, so like with Brants.
Uh-huh.
And it says of
Oh,
those
it's a sea
of
goose?
those species, it's the smallest.
No
so
shit,
it might
that'd
not
be
be the
cool.
smallest goose. I probably read that wrong the first time I looked into them, but they are. I mean,
One good website
this is just stupid looking. I mean, they're so beautiful.
that looks like an Egyptian goose.
They're pretty cool. I guess they have a really high pitch. They're very vocal during breeding season. Apparently, I've done a little bit of reading on them back in the day. They're pretty cool. God, yeah, they're look at that little tiny beak on them. Ah, they're so cute. Everybody go Google red-breasted goose. It's pretty cool.
No, it doesn't look like an Egyptian goose.
Yeah, I was
It
like,
does
I
not.
don't know. I didn't want to say no because I was like,
It's
maybe
got the
I don't
eye
think-
patch like one, but no,
Yeah.
it just reminded me of it instantly. Like that's a Egyptian
Oh
goose.
yeah.
That looks
yeah.
pretty
That looks like something
similar-ish.
fucked a tree duck.
It is almost like a fucking
It
tree
looks
duck.
like a fulvus.
Dude, a guy I know
Whistling
shot
duck.
one in like northwestern Iowa this year.
Someone got lost.
Red-bellied, red-bellied.
Tree duck.
No, black-bellied
Oh,
whistling
black.
duck.
Yeah.
yeah.
whistling duck, yeah. Either a game farm escapee or
I don't know
he
because
got mixed up with the wrong mallard crowd and flew north.
two springs ago we had one at the Hutchinson Refuge. It was in the
Really?
It was in the newspaper. It was on the news.
Well, birds do weird shit like
They
that
do weird
sometimes.
shit?
Every now and again, you'll find, like, I know, man, it's many years ago, but somebody in Minnesota, there was, is it? It's an egret, but like ones they don't like
Whooping
really
crane.
migrate out of Florida. Like we have the white egrets here, but this was the
It's a whooping crane.
snowy one or whatever it was. It wasn't
I don't
a
know,
whooping
well,
crane. It was actually an
All right,
egret. And
we
it
do
had
have
the
a little
yellow
flock here,
and I know we have.
and
we do
Florida
have
has a little
whoopings.
flock, so I'm a little confused.
Florida has whooping cranes.
Yeah, there's like
didn't know that.
there's a flock here and a flock in like Florida, I think. Yeah.
Isn't that one of the reasons we don't have a sandhill season in Minnesota? Is because that small
Whooping crane thing?
recovering whooping crane.
Dude, there's a refuge I know you can hunt. It's like Illinois. Shit, I can't remember the name, but that's where the whoops migrate to, and they shut down the whole hunting as soon as the first whooping crane shows
Wow,
up.
like,
Yeah.
They can't risk
You can hunt that
even
refuge.
an accidental one.
Yeah, you can hunt it, but then they'll put up signs like, "Nope, whooping cranes are here. No more hunting."
They must be delicious.
Dude, and when I was like 15, me and my dad were out by Ortonville, Minnesota, and we were scouting. And my dad like slams the brakes. He's like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Right there. That bird is a whooping crane." I was like, "Okay." And he's fumbling, getting his camera out of the back of the truck, like freaking out. I'm 15, like, "Dad, let's go find some goddamn honkers."
Can I shoot it? Not interested.
What are you doing? He gets all these pictures of it. We go to the DNR headquarters in Ortonville, Minnesota. Shows it to the game wardens. Like, guys, I saw a whooping crane, and I have photographic evidence. He pulls out his.
This is Sasquatch.
This is like a high technology digital camera in 2001, and like shows it to them. They're like,
Yeah.
cool.
Like, yeah,
cool. All right, man. Well,
yeah.
we're gonna go get lunch now.
All right, cool,
They didn't
man.
give a shit.
You saw a bird.
But then my dad emailed those pictures to like some whooping crane society. They're like, "That's male number 02387. He's really adventurous, and thanks for letting us know where he was."
Crazy.
Yeah, and they knew who he was, like why he was
Wow.
there, like they kind of had eyes on him already up in that area.
I hope we get a statewide crane season soon because there is an ass load of them right now. Their numbers are increasing every year by like a lot.
I saw some out by Wilmer, which surprised the hell out of me because I didn't think they went that far west. I mean, eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. I mean, you can't throw a stone without fucking hitting one.
They're
nowadays.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in like people's yards and business. Like they're in the summer and they're nesting. They're everywhere. They're right in town. They don't.
I remember pigeon scouting and seeing them in standing bean fields,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What are these cranes doing?
Yeah.
What are they eating out
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, what is-
Crickets?"
So what is happening the
they're
last 10
definitely
years?
making a great recovery for sure. 'Cause
Or
they're seeing
going
more
into
and
new
more and more.
areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a shitload of cranes out there,
There's
man.
a lot of cranes.
Well, I don't remember seeing them
Yeah.
15 years ago.
No,
you know?
I remember seeing some, like where I used to hunt and like bow hunting that in around this time, middle of October, you start getting really big flocks of them, and you would see some, but it's nothing like it is now.
Not where they're
you'd
just
see when they would
randomly all
migrate
over.
through, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't see them like all summer long. I see them now. I see them everywhere.
Sometimes you're out in the way western Dakotas or something, and you see like a field of 5,000. You're like, that's insane. But now you're just driving around like,
Yeah.
there's some weird cranes. There's some weird
Yeah.
cranes. There's 20 here. Like,
Yeah. The first weekend, I hear where they're hunted, they're really hard to hunt. But I'm guessing the first weekend that we're able to hunt them in Minnesota, it's going to be a bloodbath because they they come to a honker spread like nobody's business.
Well, you guide with those guys down in Oklahoma, right, Nick? That hunt
Yeah.
sandhills, and they got full stuffer spreads.
Yeah,
You
they
know?
get tough. Yeah,
That's
really,
crazy.
They get really wary when they're where they're hunted. So
And in my experience hunting cranes, which is very limited, it's like, okay, well, you set up and you're like, all right, these are not going to do it. And every flock comes out and you're like, they're doing the same thing that last flock did, and we are fucked.
Yeah.
Or it's like, here comes the goddamn cranes.
yeah.
Get ready for a gun battle.
So I'll share this story just because it's a mid-season recap as well as a cautionary tale. So we were hunting, and this will hopefully, if I don't get off on a tangent too much, we'll segue into another thing we were going to talk about today. So where we were hunting has a one hen limit on the mallards, that's the other rant I'm going to get into. But before I get to that, we had the sandhill come in with a flock of cranes, and there was some other sandhills like on the
flock of
periphery.
geese.
Or geese. Said the two things the same way. So I had a sandhill in with a flock of geese, and there was other cranes around, but this one was literally mixed in with the flock, which is like the first time any of us has ever really seen that. And everybody saw it. We all said, "Hey, everybody, be careful! If these geese do it, there's a crane."
Oh, you're not about to admit to a crime, are
crane
you?
mix. No.
Okay.
This is a better story. Well, I am. But
No,
there's-
don't do that.
It's okay. Well, bases are covered. So as it comes in, we all pick our birds. We shoot, kill some geese. As things are dropping, everybody's like, "Yeah, all right, we're good." The last one to fall was that crane.
Oh, you're getting arrested.
Like, oh my God. No. So, when we start doing the oh shit, what do we do? I'm like, well, there's really only one thing we should do, and it's call the CO and let them know what happened, because I don't want that in my possession.
You did that?
Yeah, so we did that.
I've heard of guys doing that.
And we waited
Luckily,
around.
I've never broke a law, so.
And we waited around, and the guy came out, obviously he checked licenses. And he was pretty cool because I was hunting with Corey Jeffers from Ohio, from Jim Shoot Decoys.
Yeah,
he was up with his buddy. And so we had them up, and then my nephew was up from South Carolina, and they didn't have, so in this state, I can't say a state. Nick told me not to say a state.
You about to tell everybody they committed crimes?
They did. Because they didn't buy the right they had all the right
Fucking
licenses except for
lips,
this
man.
state goose
Stamp.
permit,
Oh, early.
which is
Yeah.
I've never even heard of
Wait,
it either.
what?
It's called a statewide goose.
Well, there's the
Permit.
early goose. There's a
not-
state
it's
waterfowl
not-
stamp.
In this state.
Oh, yeah.
In this other state we're talking about.
Okay.
But people that know will know, and people that don't will have to figure it out. But
Iowa, dude.
there's a statewide goose permit, and it's like $2, like or $5.
yeah.
It's nothing, but but technically you have to have it. They didn't have it. They didn't realize they were supposed to have it.
Dude, I hunt so many different states. Like, you have to read those regs so carefully.
So we knew, we're like, okay, if we're doing this, we got to call them. Everybody has their licenses, right? So we're like, yep. And we started looking like, you don't have it. Buy it now.
You didn't buy that thing.
But
you're
so
supposed to.
we wait. The officer comes out. We tell him what went down. He's like, "Where's it at?" It's over there. He's like, "Okay, I'll go get it later." I said, and we did. It was still alive. It had a broken leg and a broken wing, but we put it out of its misery. I don't know if that was. We were like, I don't know if we should have done that or should not have done that, but we didn't really want to have it out there suffering or whatever. And he's like, you cop to it, whatever. It's not, I'll take care of that part. And then he checked everybody's licenses. Of course, he has timestamps when he pulls everybody's. So he knows that we bought these licenses or the add-on ones
Goddamn
during
technology.
the day. But again, we didn't try to hide it. We were like, no, we realized we didn't have the right stuff, so we got it. And he's like, yeah, but when you were going to call the CO, you thought you better get. And he's like, we were like, yeah, but it wasn't that insidious. It was just like, let's make sure we had, we all thought we had the right stuff, but upon double checking it, we found stuff, we had, the people that have hunted that state before had all the right things. We knew what to look for, but they, he's like, and he was like, yeah, I'm not, you paid all this other money, but you didn't pay for the $2. You're trying to get out of the $2 Goose thing. He's like, I get it. It's not that big of a deal. So the other interesting thing he did is he's like, well, who was shooting what shot? He's like, do you mind if I get a shell from everybody? Because they're going to cut it open, see who technically shot it. I'm guessing a couple people probably
I guess
touched
in
it.
case you like contest.
Well, on his end, he's like, I have to file a report. I have to put as much information in this report as I can.
You have
And
to know who to find.
I need
guess.
who, and
Yeah.
well, he's like, chances are this isn't going to go anywhere because you guys called me, which is more than most people would have done. He's like, you obviously easily could have not said anything and been on your merry way, and nobody would have been the wiser. And I don't know. I just didn't want to take the chance. I didn't want to, like, let's do that. Because for me, the forager, or the one that likes to render goose fat, I was like, I hate leaving good protein out there. Like,
They didn't let you take it, right?
no,
I didn't
he
think
was
they
going to
would.
donate it. But that was like, I don't.
First crane? Was it your first crane?
So yes. So I really wanted to taste it. So I didn't want to. If instead of just stomping it or leaving it in the corn or dumping it in a ditch, it's like, well, if I'm taking this thing, I'm going to eat it. But I'm like, I don't want it in my possession. I don't want, I'm full scale is relatively new. I don't want that kind of black mark on that, just in general. So we're
nobody knows about it, so you're good.
yeah, we're good. All 5 people listening to this know about it. But I guess the cautionary tale is obviously make sure you read your regulations and you get the right licensing. And if you do accidentally shoot something you're not supposed to, the silver lining is if you fess up to it and you're honest with the CO, he's going to cut you all the slack in the world. I mean, you'd have to have a super asshole CO come out, be like, thanks for calling me, here's $12,000 in fines.
Yeah, it
It's like,
happens.
what?
You always hear the stories, I guess.
He didn't even check our plugs. He goes, you guys got all your plugs,
You
right?
ever been checked by a Fed?
Yes, they check plugs. But so I have a Vinci, and I didn't do it this time, but I'm going to do it next time. Or maybe I won't. I want to, but that might put him on edge. But when they ask you if you have plugs in a gun, I'm going to say no, because the Vinci doesn't have plugs. You can only put 3 shells in it.
Does it have a plug within the enclosed magazine tube? Because the magazine tubes, Tom has a Vinci. Tom, you could switch those mag tubes out in like 30 seconds. He actually
quick.
has
I know, real
extended.
quick.
Are
Yeah.
you still looking for one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom's got one.
I got one.
Going for sale?
Not for sale. No, I bought this one on. Where did I buy that from?
That was X-Rail.
It's an
wasn't
X-Rail.
it?
It's an
Yeah,
X-Rail.
they don't
They don't
make
make them anymore. Yeah.
They don't make them anymore. It was like $400 when
Whatever,
I bought it.
dude,
Yeah,
It's nice. Though.
yeah, it is very nice. It's a nice machine.
Like me and
Yeah.
Tom will.
If you can find one online, buy one and then sell it to Dale for $600.
I'll probably buy it because I have to component it out now.
You have to buy each.
Well, I used to
Yeah.
always carry around like my tube and my spring and that sort of shit. And like Tom's bought this Vinci and he got that tube for it. And like we were waterfowl hunting one morning and pigeon hunting in the afternoon. He's like, I'm going to change out my mag tube real quick. Click, 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 click.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
like,
it's modular.
yeah, and he shows me the tube. I'm like, you could put that in your glove compartment, man. Like, this is awesome. To find out they don't.
Button, quarter click, off.
Yeah, yeah, and like,
click.
I can't believe they
Done.
don't sell those anymore.
They're just not. They didn't sell well.
Well, they're $400.
Well,
But-
those. I mean, the Vinci's in general. Like they. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, they do
well,
still
that
make 'em,
magazine
but they're-
tube is really awesome. I mean, you're paying for an awesome magazine
Well, it's
tube.
got to be hard. I mean, that's not. It's not a big market.
No,
you know, for if you
can't
think
be.
about a business trying to
Sell
sell
that,
units
yeah.
and whatever, like
Well,
they're
they-
probably expensive because they sell 5 of them a year. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, how much money they spent in engineering and putting it together.
Yeah,
and
trying to
then,
make that back. Like
then the
you're not
Vinci and the
ever-
Super Vinci never sold.
Yeah,
like,
they,
I'm sure,
not
like,
that many buy them. And
Yeah.
the only reason I did is because I shouldered every gun out there pretty much, and that one just fits me like a glove.
It's got a nice feel to it. I
So
think
it's
it
like,
might
well-
just fit people well.
And that was me. It's like every time I shouldered it, and you point at something on a wall, it's like it was always right there. I didn't have to twist it. I didn't have to adjust my head. Like it was always right there. Like some guns, SB3 or 2 at the time was great. The Extrema was great, but I always had to tweak them just a little bit. But every time I'd go back to that Vinci and shoulder it, was always right there. I'm like, well, that's when it comes time for me to spend some big coin on a gun, that's the one I'm getting. And I rocked an 870 until I could afford the Vinci. So it's like I didn't see any reason to buy a $700 gun or an $800 gun that didn't really fit me. That seemed like a waste of money. why not wait a few more years until I can get the one that actually fits me? But it's an expensive one.
I tell
and
people,
it's an odd one.
You know,
Yeah.
So when it
you're
comes-
actually the
so
only
when it
other
comes
person
to-
I've ran across that has a
so when it
Vinci,
comes to parts, I'm
Jordan
screwed.
Kyle used to have one.
Yeah.
Great.
Have you ever had any problems with your safety button on yours?
Nope.
No.
Well, the only issue I have with my safety button is sometimes, and I found this is just mostly with like I can't shoot Kents anymore. I used to use Kents on my 870, no problem. I loved them. They're too dirty for the Da Vinci. Does not like them. A few rounds with that, and it starts gumming up. But thankfully, I can go click, 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 clean it, click, click, click. I'm back in action. Then it runs great for a few more volleys.
Something happened to Kent, man.
Yeah, they're dirty. So, anyways,
Yeah.
What'll happen is it won't cycle all the way. First shot goes, and it'll put a new one in there, but the slide doesn't go all the way shut.
Yeah.
And you would think it would just be as easy as bumping it forward and shooting, but once it gets to that point, you have to completely eject that middle shell, get the other one in there. And also, before you eject that middle shell, you can't get it off. You can't put the safety back on. It's like stuck.
See, I've never had the problem with the shell, but I've had it where after, come up for a volley, bang, 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 whatever, miss, and then, good thing Nick's good cleanup crew here. But then I just cannot get my safety back safe, and
Action open or closed?
action open, and then
Well, what's your remedy for that? Because I've seen that happen with you a couple times.
my remedy is I will close it and I have to dry fire the gun probably 4
Really?
or 5 times, and then it'll go back closed. Otherwise, I really
Do you have the super or the regular?
I just have a regular Vinci.
Regular Vinci,
Yeah,
okay,
3-inch
same with me.
Vinci. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I have to really just jam that button to.
Huh. No, so
yeah.
far so good with
And
the
I was
safety.
thinking about maybe next summer sending it to Benelli and just getting
I
it
would,
just
yeah.
get it like super cleaned by Benelli. I'll pay the whatever $85 I looked online, and
Oh, they do that at the factory?
Yeah, they'll do like the super cleaning and go through.
It's
everything.
also one of the only guns I know that brand new off the shelf, right in the box. You don't have to do anything with it. Like a lot of them, you're supposed to like clean the packing grease and stuff out of it. But the guy at the Benelli dealership is like, "This is good to go
the Benelli dealership
out of the box." Well, actually, I think I bought it at Joe's Sporting Goods in St. Paul, actually. But it was like the Benelli. He's like, Da Vinci's
Yeah.
out of the box, ready to go. He's like, don't fuck with it. I'm like, all right.
Anything Benelli, Beretta, or 90% of the people who buy Super X 2, 3, or 4s or 5s. Do they have 5s now? I don't know.
Who knows?
The Super X series is really reliable for guys too in terms of automatics, but man, I torture tested my Benelli M2 12 gauge for 2 seasons and just shot thousands and thousands of rounds through it. What a terrible idea. That aged my gun 10 years. In like 2 years, I was like, what did I do? Like this, all right, cool. Yeah, I know they last a really long time before they screw up now. And I just like severely damaged a $1,400 tool.
Oof.
You know, like.
Yeah.
and now you got a single shot while we're snow goose hunting.
Yeah, it does
And of
happen.
course, no, yeah, definitely. Tom was on that hunt,
Yeah.
and it failed on a day you would not want your semi-automatic failing. And I was
That's
like,
kind of
oh,
what happened to me last spring.
super
So
cool torture test.
snow goose hunting. Not
Yeah.
only do I not have an extension mag on it, which I'm spring snow goose hunting with 3 shells, so that's cool. But the dirty Kents were gumming up, especially the colder it gets, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
And it was a one shot anyways. So having the extended mag during that season, shooting that ammo at least, and I'm not trying to dog on Kent because again, out of my 870, I had no problems ever.
What kind of lubes? What kind of lubes you spraying on that
I
thing?
have the Benelli one that it comes with.
I don't know.
Little
If, I
squirt
would
tube.
try some
And
CLP
you're
out
not
of
supposed
Walmart.
to put much in there, like
No, you're not.
little tiny drop because oil collects dirt.
Yeah.
But just CLP from Walmart, I find works better even
Really?
than that. Yeah, for Benelli's.
Is
Benelli's
that like a dry silicone spray?
No. What is it? Clean Lube Protect. They had
Yeah.
it in the military or something. But that's, I will just like spray that down and get as much carbon off as I can, get it as dry as I can, throw it back together.
Well,
Benelli's are finicky about their
the
oil.
good thing is that now the cheap Remington Blue Box shoots great out of my gun and it patterns well. So now I get, instead of buying the $16, $17
You're not on the boss train
silver,
like everybody else.
silver steel, I can rock a $12 box of Feds. It's great. Especially when it comes to snow goose hunting. I can get a $100 case at Rogers. Hell yeah.
Shout out to Federal. I did their rebate program on the Black Cloud. And that was the easiest, fastest responding rebate I ever got.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it a good rebate?
Hell yeah, dude. I did like a
Healthy?
Remington one like 4 years ago. And there was so much fine print. I had to like cut out every single UPC and tape them to a piece of paper.
Oh, wow.
And it couldn't
Off
be,
every box,
couldn't be
right?
folded. Couldn't be like there's so much weird fine print to be like you
They're
disqualified.
just trying to get out of it. Yeah.
Took
yeah,
like
yeah.
6 months. I was disqualified, and I called them. I was like, I didn't do that. I'm like, all right, we'll send you your money.
They're like, crap, this guy called.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's how I generally feel about most rebates. You know, it's like Menards, they have rebates on everything in store days or whatever, and then you got to buy your shit. You got to go to the counter, get the right shit to fill out, all to save 50 cents on this Phillips screwdriver. How about you just charge 50 cents less? Because
Right.
they know that
You're not
nobody's
gonna
going to
do it.
fucking do that.
But I always buy Waterfowl ammunition on rebate. There's good brands every
Yeah.
year. They have it, and I get it, and you might as well.
Yeah, you're going to
So I've done a lot of
rocking 'em.
UPC cutting and emailing with customer service in my day, and
Yeah.
yeah, Federal made it pretty easy.
That's
I
smart.
liked it.
So
And actually, yeah, you had good luck with Federal Blue Blocks. Mm-hmm. So I've been having really good luck with Federal Black Cloud. I
Okay.
won one case at a duck calling contest. And they're like, hey, you get a case of shotgun shells of your choice. And that's just right when I got my M220 gauge. I was like, all right, give me Black Cloud ounce of 2-shot 20
forget
gauge
that you rock a 20 gauge.
all day. So, yeah, that was my first case that I ever bought for the 20. And like 4 boxes deep, you know, it's probably a couple weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks into the season. I'm going, am I crushing shit with this? Like, I was like, because I never was a fan of Federal. I had a lot of burnt powder in my eyeballs and stuff like that from it. But they definitely have stepped their game up. And I bought 2 more cases of Black Cloud after I
Nice.
finished that. Like, yeah, it's doing really good.
I haven't shot it. I have a box of the new Black Cloud that is you can shoot it out of the pattern master or the flight control
Sure.
chokes or whatever. I haven't shot it yet because the blue box didn't work. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, because I went in and the store I went into didn't have much. So I'm like, now that Kents are off the table for me, I need to find a new load. So I'm gonna pattern some of these. I'm like, oh great, they have.
See,
a
I've
box of
never had
3-inch.
problems with Kents on my Vinci,
Oh,
but
really?
I shot a case of heavy metals through them, and that was fine too. I
Yeah.
never had a problem with them either.
I had a
Every gun's
gun
different.
Yeah, I know.
explode in
I
my
mean,
hands
it's just
from
the weird
heavy
thing.
metals, and they had a ginormous like recall 2 years ago.
Yikes.
Yeah, well, this
I
is
don't
probably
know.
what 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I shot that case
About the
for
time of that
You know.
recall.
Yeah,
Yeah, right about that
Yeah.
time.
yeah. But when you're just hucking shells at snow geese,
Yeah,
the case goes real fast. You know?
Shot any of the Boss?
No.
The Boss Bismuth or whatever that they
No,
come
I
out with?
saw it, but
Those
how
guys have
expensive
done
are those?
one. I don't know. They're expensive. It's like bismuth. It's not too bad. But like those guys have done an amazing job at marketing, and man, everybody's like on this Boss train shooting bismuth. Like that stuff's been out for 20 years.
Yeah, right.
Like I
Yeah.
killed. That was out before like Heavy Shot. It was out before Tungsten Iron or Tungsten Matrix. Everything. Bismuth was the first, and now is all of a sudden it's like this big
It's a
thing.
new thing.
It's
It's,
a new-
weird. It's weird what things like go viral or take off.
It's a
Let's
cool
look at
imagery.
decoys.
Yeah.
Silhouettes right now are on fire. Dive bomb. They must have a great marketing team because everybody's talking dive bombs, solid dive bombs, dive
Definitely.
bombs. It's like we went from you have to have a fully flocked spread of full bodies to
Dive bombs. Yeah.
dive bombs,
Dive bombs with
silhouettes.
flock
Dude,
heads.
it's like what the hell?
It's great marketing, and it's how tribal we are. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
We want to get in a camp, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it because you get involved with dive bomb or gym shoe
I mean,
or
we're killing birds over them.
green head
Yeah.
gear.
I
You,
mean-
you meet cool people,
Well-
and you travel around the country and have fun. There ain't nothing wrong with
Here's
that.
the thing: it's a tool in the box. Like I think they all have their time and place. Like we hunted that migrator spot over your DSDs. Well, how many did you have out there?
72 plus 4 drop zones.
It looked great. It was like probably the most realistic. Well, not probably. It was the most realistic spread I've ever hunted over, and the migrators liked it.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we didn't need.
But
we didn't
if
need
you go
30
back,
dozen, you know.
if you go back to that day and have quarter tires out there, how are the migrators going to like that hayfield?
That
you know,
might have
you
worked
know,
too.
You know,
Who the hell knows?
you know that's
think the
people
goose
shot
call-
a lot of geese over there.
I think the goose call, as long as they can see your spread, they'll make excuses, man. Like what I've been saying lately, like You need the decoy spread to stick out. They need to see it. But the goose call convinces them that the decoy spread is real.
Yeah, I believe
You know what I
that
mean?
now. Yeah, which
Like,
is why I'm trying
you can
to
have
up
fucking,
my game. But
you can have like black 5-gallon buckets set in the field. But if you're a good goose caller, like with migrators and that sort of thing, they'll be coming in and going, all right, I see buckets in there. But I know there's geese because I can.
Oh, they must be geese.
Because I can hear them. Like I hear geese. I'm not stupid. I'm a 5-year-old Canada goose.
Right.
You know, like.
Yeah.
And they'll make excuses when they can hear that. But
Yeah.
you draw their attention with a goose call. Get them to look your way. Have a decoy spread that's visible. If you sound realistic, you convince them it's real, and you play the odds on if it's a yes or a no.
And it's like, like with gym shoes, I haven't used them extensively, but the little I have used them, they're super light. I mean, they're crazy light. So if you had to walk a spread in because the field is too muddy or whatever, I don't know what else would be better than that. Silhouettes would be great because you can pack a ton of silhouettes in a bag. Same thing, shoulder strap, you can carry 10 dozen out, easy peasy. But if you're the kind that wants a full body spread, not a silhouette, dude,
You could do a deer
so
cart.
light.
Across
Deer cart would work great.
muddy
Is that a
plowed
story?
wheat fields. Yeah.
Hold on, we're not getting to
We were
story
talking.
time yet.
We were talking to some guys last year that were doing the socks, and
I don't know what he's. Oh, microphone. I was
yeah.
he wants you to smoke
Yeah.
a cigarette?
Yeah, sorry. We were talking to some guys last year that they were running, 10 dozen socks, and that's all they use were
Yeah.
socks and
For Canada's?
for Canada's.
Yeah.
And I have some white rocks. I have 5 dozen white rocks. I love them. 5
got-
doesn't fit in the same size bag as a dye. I'm pretty sure they're the exact same bags.
If you're
dye
running
bond bag.
silhouettes,
They're great.
why are you not mixing socks into it?
Yeah, it gets
If you got the wind for it,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, we got a ATV in, we got a walk in, whatever. Let's just take these 2 bags of silhouettes. Why aren't you also taking a bag of socks with you?
Yeah.
I've had some of my best hunts have been over silhouettes and socks. It's not because they're the most realistic decoys. It's because we could hunt where the geese wanted to be on the day they would be super, super vulnerable to it. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like it was.
Which since I've been talking to you, that term vulnerable it's in our vernacular now. It's like when you just see the geese that are just flying over and you can tell they have no interest, like they're on like
Yeah,
those geese were not vulnerable geese.
they were not vulnerable.
Because we're like, they didn't give a shit about our calling. They didn't. They flew right over our decoys and never once saw a head go,
Right.
tilt down and even look at it. They're just eyes straight forward. They got somewhere they want to be, and it ain't right here.
Well, the key to success of goose hunting, you have to be where they're vulnerable at the exact moment they would be vulnerable to
They
that
would
spot.
be vulnerable.
And also they have to see your decoys, meaning they have to be in a high contrast field or using high contrast decoys. And then you have to call realistically to convince them that your decoys are real. That's it.
And that's
if
it.
you-
But
if
that
you-
last piece is probably what separates
Well, yeah, but also
the
too, like
majority of hunters, and I'm including myself in that. 'Cause
we've all been set up many times. It'll happen to all of us every season, multiple times, where the weatherman is wrong, and I'm gonna see his ass one day. And
I drank with them one night.
let me know.
I got drunk with Dave
I got a
Dahl. It was
sucker
great.
punch for that dude.
I got drunk with Dave Dahl. It was awesome.
But we'll set up on a loaf pond on a cloudy, like they'll say it's partly cloudy tomorrow and lots of sun, and then you get out there and it's drizzling and you don't shoot a goose. Or it's going to be cloudy tomorrow morning and 35. You get out there, it's clear and 21, and you're setting up in a feed field in the dark going, we're not going to shoot anything.
Not gonna shoot shit.
So if you're not in a spot where the geese are going to be vulnerable to it while you're set up there, like, don't freak out. There ain't nothing wrong. Like, geese will fly by. They'll give you a look, maybe even lock up for a second. People are like, should we move some decoys? Is our hide sucking? Like, nope.
They just don't give a shit.
They're-
So it's the tale of 2 days. So the same weekend, last weekend, where we shot the crane. Saturday, lights out. Got our limit early. I think it was 9:30 or something. We had our goose limit. The next day, nothing. I mean, not nothing. I think we killed 5, but nothing was really. It was those geese. The few geese we were seeing, they didn't care about us. They had a place to go. I think they're just going water to water. We didn't even see a fraction of the geese we saw the day before, and there are tons of geese
What
in
day
this
did you
area.
hunt? What day was
Saturday
it?
and Sunday. So we didn't have the option. They needed to get on the road by noon. I had to get my nephew back to the airport at 3. So we didn't have the option to sit all day. And from what I saw, the birds fed that afternoon. And it was very reminiscent of a hunt that we did a couple years ago. This was out by Elk River. And I had scouted this field. It was raining in the morning. I scouted it out. And these birds were bombing in this field. I get permission for it. We're in, boys. Tomorrow, we're going to smash. There's hundreds of geese using this field. The hide's going to be dope for the wind. It's on a nice hill. It's like, this is going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Set up. Hide's great. Set the decoys out. Same thing. We shot a few, but everything what you could just see was going water. Water wasn't even looking at our field.
What kind of weather was it that morning?
It was just kind of cloudy. It wasn't raining anymore. And
what time of year?
Like partly cloudy, I would say. Well, the corn was out, so I would say mid to late October.
Temp?
Not terribly cold.
Okay.
I don't remember being cold or dressing.
I would have hunted it.
There were still wood ducks around.
I would have hunted it.
So nobody had to be anywhere. So we're like, just hunt all day. Called Domino's, had them deliver pizza right to the field. It was beautiful. Then about 5:30, we started seeing geese moving around. At about 5:45, we were limited out.
Oh, okay. So it's just a strictly morning feed.
Well, this was evening feed. That
All right,
following
I'm sorry.
day.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a morning
evening.
feed the day before.
Yep.
An afternoon, late afternoon, early evening feed the next day.
Right.
So last weekend, as I look back on, I'm like, kind of similar. Because Saturday it was spitting snow and rain and whatever all day long, wet. They fed hard, probably stayed in the field all day, probably fed all day. The next day, once the weather broke,
They don't have to eat.
they're not hungry.
Yeah, they don't.
Right.
Have to
And like people always, I like to say too, geese do not give a shit what they did yesterday.
Right.
Like people say like, well, they came out to this field at 10:30 yesterday.
Right.
Cool, that was yesterday. What are they going to do today?
Yeah, what's the weather?
Dude, what's the weather? How many clouds do we got? What's the temperature?
Yeah, so I'm definitely filing those two experiences away and to try to draw on it. So like the next time, like, okay, if they're feeding heavy on a rainy mid-October day, and then the following day the weather breaks.
Well, me and Tom had a similar experience too when we we drove like 12 hours away to go hunt some geese. And the very first morning we got there, we showed up as the sun rose so we could start scouting. They're feeding that morning in cornfields, right? You know what trip I'm talking about. To that state.
He looks somewhat confused.
That we're going to call Nebraska.
Yes, okay. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we get there. Well, we found several cornfield
Was this the
feeds.
same Nebraska that I was hunting?
No.
Oh.
Way far away from your Nebraska, buddy. But no, we scouted that morning. We found several feeds in, in corn. So we get on a cornfield the next day, and our weather had
that
changed.
afternoon.
That afternoon, but they had done a morning feed, not an afternoon feed.
Yeah.
Bizarre. All right. But it was warming. When we first showed up, it was cold as shit. It warmed up that day through the afternoon, kept the high temperature rolling like through the night. And then the next day, we're set up on a cornfield, big feed, like multi-thousands of big honkers. Not little honkers, big honkers. And what did we shoot, like 10? Between 4 of us. We joined another group because it's just me and Tom, and we're brothers, and we're 800 miles from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a group had let us join in on them. And, yeah, but we knew exactly what was happening. We were like, shit, dude, that warm-up made him not do a little morning feed. And we saw geese, and they're going out to a pasture.
Yep, and they were just sitting in a pasture.
Water or pasture. Loaf to loaf
It was
or
like
water to water.
yeah, like
a pasture with a pivot, and they were just sitting in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we had to, like, those guys wanted, like, 10:30, 11 o'clock. They're just like, well, man, this is not working, you know, because every goose comes, like, 40 yards. Like, they're like, well, I'll take a look at you guys on my way to the pasture.
Get a couple half-ass looks, and you're like, yep,
whatever.
nope.
Whatever. And me and Tom are like, oh, this is an afternoon spot. And those guys are like, this sucks. Let's get out of here. I'm like, all right, shit. You know, because we were kind of the invitees.
Yeah, we were invited.
Yeah, you weren't going to. Yeah. Like, okay, we're going to stay here and hunt. So
we actually went to the landowner's pole barn. Had a couple of couple of
Libations.
blackberry,
Tom was like starting to wave you off of the story.
like blackberry
Ixnay.
brandy and
Yeah.
ham sandwiches were involved.
Ixnay and
Yeah.
O'Kane. Heroin hay. Hooker haze.
Yeah. Somebody killed a hooker.
We didn't call a CO on that one. We
But
got a tag.
apparently this this pole barn we got invited to was like the main like drinking shack of the whole neighborhood. So as we're sitting
I like
there,
this place already.
as we're sitting there drinking blackberry brandy, like every landowner in the area is coming over and being like,
Oh
"Who are you?
my God.
Who are you guys?" Like, "Oh, we're brothers from Minneapolis." "What the fuck are you doing here?" "Hunting geese." Like, "Well, I got a bunch of them."
I love when that
And we're like, "What is happening?" And then this farmer's phone rings that we had just met, and he was like, "Yeah, they are still here." Hands it to like me or Tom, and he was like, "Hey, I just met you guys. You want to join me and my wife and kids for dinner?" And we're like,
What was this? This wasn't the crazy guy that you thought you
no,
were going to get
no.
killed.
No.
The story
It's
you told last time.
super nice landowner dude.
Yeah.
Went out to dinner with him, and he's like, "All my stuff. Go ahead and hunt while you're here."
Oh,
We're like,
that's awesome.
What kind of where the fuck are
What
we?
kind of Twilight
Yeah.
Zone are we in right now?
As
Yeah,
many
especially when you get all asking permission around this state and the surrounding states, you know, it's like you get so much animosity and hate because of people who
last spring in Missouri, we didn't actually end up hunting any of these fields. That's just kind of how it worked out. But I had permissions for 3 different fields that I didn't ask for. Like they just come out and they're like, they see us, you start talking to somebody either at the cafe or whatever. The one time it was so all that flooding was going on last year, so people were coming up to the dike all the time. Just like checking out the current water level. And so you shoot the shit with them or whatever. And this one guy, he started talking, and the more you talk to him, the more they kind of friend you up, And he's like, "Well, man, I had a bunch of geese in my field, but they kind of took off, and I think they've been at my brother's, blah, blah, blah. Hey, hold on, I'm going to give him a call real quick. Hey, are those geese still out in your field?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, they've been out there every night, blah, 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 blah." "Oh, you want guys to come out there and hunt?" "Yeah, that's fine, perfectly fine." So, could you send me a pin to where that field is? I don't know where, because he's like trying to, like he knows I'm not from there, but he's explaining it like I'm from there. He's like, "Oh, we're just past the Johnson place. I mean, you can't miss. It's got the red barn." Like, I have no idea what you're fucking talking about right now, dude. Like, just drop me a pin or like share me, like show. Or I said, here's my, just show me on the map. He's like, "Well, here's the farm, and here's the field road. You can drive all the way back here." I'm like, "Oh, it's pretty wet." He's like, "No, it's good there. It's high ground there. You get all the way to that pivot right there, and then the geese were just right to the east of there. So I mean, you can set up right there. It's fine." Okay. That happened like 3 times. I'm like, this is crazy. This
I've had that happen to me my whole life.
doesn't seem to happen
Like,
in
"Hey,
Minnesota.
I was wondering about hunting on this field over here, and blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "No, I don't own that. You're going to have to go to this so-and-so's place. They're a mile, take a left. There's a red tree, take a right. Second house on the left, they got 2 blue grain bins." Shit.
Fucking A,
What
how am
did
I
she
gonna
just
find
say?
this?
Like,
Yeah,
what I was so
exactly.
excited when I knocked on the door, and I was
Trying
nervous.
to hold the boner down. Yeah.
You petted their dog. Now your hand smells like fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly.
that is the absolute worst as a fucking farm dog. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't care. I love dogs. So it
Yeah, you
doesn't
want to
bother
look
me.
all friendly, like, "Hey there, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, I was wondering about those geese behind your house."
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
then you
you
get back
Can't
in
be
your
like, "Get off me, you stinky mutt."
yeah, you get back in your truck. You're like, "What is that god awful smell?"
Something rolled in something.
That's
bad.
happened to me a few times.
Yeah, farm dogs are nice to get cornered on a porch, right?
Oh.
I drove into a farmyard, and that thing said, "Beware of dogs," and had
Ruh-roh.
maybe 8 to 13 signs that said that. They're pretty serious about it. Okay, well, I'm still going to ask for permission to hunt geese, like, your dogs do not scare me. I'm sorry.
Or they should.
You've got like 700 out there and a good sack of mallards. So my name's Nick.
I have good insurance. Let's
Nice
do
to
this.
meet your dogs. But no, I pulled in and I was like, I better be careful. And then I saw they had a pole barn out back and there was like a deck where the dogs stood on. And I was like, oh shit. Like you could see them standing there barking at me. As I pulled in, I was like, nice. They're in the pole barn. I'm like, I look at the house. I'm like, there ain't really nobody
in
here.
there.
I can tell. But you got to
Right, you gotta
ring the
knock,
doorbell.
just in case.
Anyways,
Yeah.
So I walk up to the porch. I ring the doorbell and I do like my 3-step back, adjust my eyebrows real quick. And then I just heard like behind me. I was like, whoa. And I looked by, and there was a ginormous German Shepherd. And it's like just cornered me in the porch and was just drooling and coming at me. That was pretty freaky.
How'd you get out of that one?
I just backed along the railing all the way around the dog, and it was nipping at the Johnsons. And I was shaking, and I had a buddy in the car and everything. I was like, fucking help me! Just shaking his head. Just shaking his head in the car. I was like, are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah, he doesn't
You
have
fucking kidding me?
to outrun that's the old bear thing. Like, you don't have to outrun the bear, you got to outrun your buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just I was like, please don't bite me. Please don't bite me. And I made it all the way back to the car door, the truck door with it on my, just following me, drooling. Got back in whoa.
See, I was out scouting once. We were way out in western Minnesota. And I found, I hadn't been finding anything. I finally find this one field. It doesn't even have a shit ton in it, but it was, by far the most I've seen anywhere. And it looked like
Huntable.
a good field to hunt. So I went in there and pulled into the drive. I'm getting ready to get out, and this dog comes up to the car, and it's one of these giant, it's not any particular breed. This is just a mutt, but looks like it's been bred with the hardest dogs they could find. And it wasn't barking. So I actually have pretty good experience with dogs and reading their body language and stuff. And the reason this dog made me nervous is because he wasn't barking, and he was just watching me intensely, eyes did not leave me, looked very confident, was not nervous at all, was not he's sizing me up. And I looked at him, I looked at his body language, and I'm like, I think I'm okay. I think he looks meaner than he is. But I'm not going to ask. I was because it's hard to read those dogs, because it's he was so confident in himself. It's if he's you step out, I'm going to bite you, because that's what I do. And he's that kind of calmly. He's no hard feelings. It's just a job.
Yeah.
Kind of. That's kind of the vibe I got. I'm I don't need to hunt these geese that bad. I'm going to keep driving.
You know what's the best, though? When we've all had this happen to us. You're hunting, you set up the decoys, you shoot your first volley of geese, or ducks, whatever. The farm dog comes running out and it's friendly as shit. Wondering what you're doing in the cornfield.
Hey, guys.
You know what? I'm not mad.
Going on?
You guys are out here too.
At first, I used to be so mad about that. Oh my
screwing
god.
up our hunt or whatever.
Somebody get this dog out of here. But now I'm guys, just cuddle with it. You're blind. I don't care.
Come here, man.
Fine.
I love dogs. So usually it's not. I mean, people are always dog that jumps up on you, oh, get down. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm I don't care. My dog jumps on me all the time. It's great. This is dog love. I love it. It's great. So back to
Midseason update.
Midseason update. We're gonna get through this, damn it. So I want to
Duck
get
hunters
to my
are having a
final
good time.
rant. So
Goose
bird
hunters.
numbers are great in this particular area. There's crap tons of geese. There's quite a few mallards around. They're coming
a lot more to come.
10 or 5 minutes before legal.
Oh, your low hen thing?
We're covered. We are covered in ducks. They're landing 10 feet off our boot bags, right on the spinner. I mean, they're trying to ride the spinners cowboys. They're on them like crazy.
Field or water?
Field.
Nice.
And very, very soggy field.
What kind of field was it? Silage?
Silage.
Mallards?
Yes, sir.
Nice, man.
Lots of 'em.
That area does not have that, dude. You got very lucky.
Yeah. So, but even at legal, when a couple smaller flocks returned, because the giant wads came and went, fed for 5 minutes and bolted out, then they were done. Back to water they went, apparently, I guess.
They hit a couple other feeds.
Yeah, maybe
on
they
the way.
hit a couple other fields on the way back. But we had a couple smaller flocks. By small, I mean 20, 30 that we shot into. But it was so dark, and this state only has a one hen limit, that you can't tell. And there's a lot of eclipse drakes. It's almost if you're hunting by sound, you're waiting for Drake quack. You're can't tell. And so the first group that came in are we're going to shoot them on this pass, but everybody shoot a bird, because we can't tell hens from drakes, and we don't want to get into that controversy. And it's just so stupid. And then so that's in my brain. This is the rant I want to get onto, and I've made this rant multiple times. But Nick, you're a scientific-minded, logical-minded individual.
Kinda.
Why do we have a hen limit of any kind on mallards when we don't have them on any other duck, any other waterfowl species? And mallards are the species of least concern on the planet. It's the most populated duck on the planet.
Why?
Why?
The answer why is tradition.
It's a stupid tradition, and the only thing it's good for is writing tickets.
Here's my question. How many hen mallards are getting stomped into the mud every season rather than served on a dinner table? Come on. Your 6 ducks, only 4 can be mallards in Minnesota.
Right.
And I mean, there's even a hen restriction on that, and it's
But
the most
at least in this state we can have
duck.
shoot 2. I mean, you get a little more leniency as far as your mistake birds in air quotes.
Right. No,
but
it's
why
tradition.
even have any mistake birds?
It's tradition.
But people defend it though. I've heard just podcasts last week that I was listening to, and they got into the making sure you're only shooting drakes, and it doesn't matter. And they'll argue like, well, a dead hen can't lay any eggs. You're right, but how many hen Canada geese do you shoot?
It certainly doesn't matter.
Oh, you can't tell? How's their population doing? Oh, just dandy? How many hen snow geese are you killing? Oh, it doesn't matter?
You can only shoot the ones with the warts.
Yeah, exactly, and the Rosses. How about teal, especially in this state?
Yes.
You can't ID a drake and a hen teal in this state during open season.
I'll concede it might be a little bit more important in states that are killing mass quantities of mallards. Like, we're talking Arkansas.
What about Canada?
Canada kills, well, hold on. Arkansas almost kills as many mallards as the entire country of Canada.
Really?
Every province of Canada kills just over the amount of mallards from every single license sale as Arkansas alone.
Okay.
So there's states where the primary bag can a lot of times be mallards, and these guys are hunting them in like mallard habitat, like it's kind of cool when they get a gadwall.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, look at this, we got a gadwall in the mallard hole.
Well, I'll say a pro and a con to that. So the pro for a hen limit in a state like Arkansas is that by the time the ducks get to Arkansas, they're plumed out.
Definitely.
You can tell a green head from a hen.
Well,
we're dealing with the clip drakes up here that might have 3 small green feathers on their head. Mm-hmm.
It's more difficult to
really
distinguish.
Hard.
Yes.
Really difficult,
and
especially in low light conditions.
Dude, it's making hens getting buried out in the marsh. Yeah. It's turning law-abiding citizens into criminals.
But again, the con, even in Arkansas, is that there's no hen limit on any other duck. So let's say wood ducks. They're only giving us 3, and they just bumped that up. What, 5 years ago?
Yeah,
used
pretty
to be
recent.
2 for the longest time.
Yep.
Now you can tell even early on, pretty much you can tell a drake wood duck from a hen wood duck. So if their population is so low that we can only shoot 2, now 3, why don't they have a hen limit? They're clearly more vulnerable as a species than mallards are as far as total population goes. How about canvasbacks? We can shoot 1. If you can't ID a drake from a hen canvasback, you probably shouldn't be shooting at ducks. So if that species is so delicate that we only have a 1 bird limit, why don't they have a hen limit if shooting hens matters that much?
It doesn't. Obviously, geese prove that.
So can we just have laws based on science? That's all I'm asking.
I would just like laws that make it so we're not wasting resources. Let's assume that it's a 50-50 chance you're going to shoot a drake to a hen. Base the limits on that.
You're creating a problem that doesn't need to exist. Like, we're having to be so careful. Like, we're now not harvesting any birds.
And we've all been there.
We're afraid of going over our hen limit.
It's super cloudy in the morning. 30 minutes before sunrise is legal. I mean, if you're in a marsh,
but you can't see a damn
if you're
thing.
in a marsh, it's pretty dark. Like, if you're in like a river timber hole, like you can't see a goddamn thing.
Good luck, yeah.
You can't see anything.
Like, you can make out shapes and be like, especially like wood duck has such a boxy shape. Like,
right.
Bang, killed a wood duck. All right, I know what I got.
And they fly, they dip side to side. They have a very
other than that, you might be like,
flight.
whoa, look at that thing I know it's not a mallard. Bang.
Yeah,
Like
right.
brings it back like, oh, green-winged teal, dope. You know, like when
Hen.
it's that dark and the yeah. You know, like when it's that dark that early, you got to be super super careful. And how many guys, you know, I mean, they hunt a few times a year. Most of it sucks, but they're there on the right day. You know, they got there right after a cold snap up north, and they're doing it dirty. And, I mean, that flock of 30 ducks comes in against the cloudy background. They're all silhouetted. It's 4 minutes into legal. Let them rip.
Yeah, I just feel like the hen argument would be a lot stronger if it was like species wide. And even then you got the geese thing, which aren't sexually dimorphic, so it doesn't even, I mean, that just throws it out.
Mallards are like one of the most successful
Throws it out right
nesters, too. And
Well,
the most successful, like, second
They're
attempt
everywhere.
nesters. Yeah.
They'll nest in urban area. Like, they're not, like,
The Donahues
habitat
are neighbors.
specific.
They nested in the sandbox.
yeah. I know.
Yeah,
I know
I
a
had a
guy-
hen nest under my bush this
Yeah,
spring.
I know a guy that it's his parents, but this hen returns every year, nests in their flower pot in the corner of their deck every year. Same
At the
spot.
gym, there's a mallard nesting there. Like the Minneapolis area, like it becomes infested with mallards come breeding season. Like you just see mallards everywhere. They're on rooftops. They're in yards. They're next
They're
to the fire
everywhere.
hydrant. They're
They're-
walking across the street here and there. Like they
On,
are
the level of endangered species. It's
Least concern.
least concern.
Yeah,
Of
absolutely.
least concern. They are the most populated duck on the planet. They're even in New Zealand, where they don't belong. They were introduced there, but they're still there in mass quantities. I don't even think they have a limit on them down there, and they can't get rid of them. So why do we have this stupid-ass hen limit?
Well, okay. Granted, there's a lot of Minnesota duck hunters, but do you know what the average is for like how many ducks they shoot per season? Average Minnesota duck hunter, average total ducks per season.
Total ducks per season, the average hunter.
6.
That's what I was going to say, 6.
Tom's really close, but that's on the high end. Like it varies between like 3.5 to
Y'all
6.
suck and need to step up your game. If you're shooting 6 ducks this
It's
season.
3.5 to 6, but you know what?
Holy shit.
Okay, look at Arkansas. The average ducks per season. I think this is residents too, but what do you think their number is per season per
25.
hunter? Tom,
I'm going to say 17.
you are insanely close with 25. That number goes between like 24 and 31, between like Arkansas and Louisiana, sometimes like Mississippi and Tennessee, but.
How many,
That's a
and
lot.
How many
hunters?
honey hunters? Oh, yeah. How
I was
many
going to say,
hunters?
do the math. Like, are we even still scratching the population?
So, I
even
mean,
with
you got
that?
what? How many hunters? Resident? I can't imagine
Google
over
it.
200,000.
Google that shit before we say.
Jamie,
But, all right,
Jamie?
Look it up.
Yeah.
but that statistic I said about Canada, Canada shoots. All right, Arkansas shoots 80% of the mallards of Canada, and I've heard that's with like 25% of the license sales of Canada.
Sure.
So that's a
not-
insanely high average.
Yeah, that's a lot more.
All right.
And they're all concentrated in one area.
This isn't how many hunters, but in over 1 million waterfowl were harvested across the state in Arkansas in 2016 to
That's
17.
1 million waterfowl.
Waterfowl. So,
there's
that's mallards.
snow geese.
Lots
lots of
you had
snow geese gets killed in
there.
Arkansas.
You had snow
Minnesota's
geese in
got like
there.
75K. I know that much. So what's 75K times 4? That'd be 300,000 if everybody was getting 3 or 4 ducks per season, and that's a million. They have a lot
Yeah.
less than us. Minnesota, I think, is one of the most numerous states for
Per
license
capita,
sale,
the
yeah.
most duck hunters per capita, I believe.
It's like 400,000
a
for
lot.
deer license sales.
Yeah. Wisconsin's got to be more than that. Wisconsin and Michigan. I know Wisconsin
I don't know.
and Michigan, it's a
I don't know.
freaking religion over there.
Yeah, but at the same time, they don't have as big a population.
I guess I don't have any stats to back that up one way or the
I don't
other.
either. It's like I know like 400K in Minnesota or 300K or something. It's insane.
It's a lot.
Well, I don't think they have any idea how many ducks are out there
Yeah.
in general.
There's no way.
There's no way you could know.
There-
I mean,
yeah,
now with
it's not an
with the
exact
infrared
science.
drones, like where they found that kid. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you don't know that they might be a better way to do it now
Right.
than there has been with
Well,
the,
they
with the
don't-
old chain.
the other thing is they
the
don't
chain
stay
drag
still.
or whatever.
No. And
Yeah.
every year they
How do you-
might be
tag?
you might be counting the same birds.
so they do those like hunter surveys too, and every year there's reported more green-winged teal killed than they know exist every year.
That's hilarious.
Then they can count. They don't know where green-winged
We've
teal.
exceeded the population again, but yet they keep coming back.
Well, they know where they breed. They they have been studying green-winged teals a long time, and maybe not everywhere, but just when they do those counts, they're so fucking hard to find. They don't count them because they can't find them because they're in like the little flooded, like grassy spots, and they're so tiny to begin with. So what they estimate for the green-winged teal kill count per season is every year more than what they know exist.
Wow. Well, and I've heard some guys too, they're not, like when you get HIP certified, they're not truthful. Because in their theory is like, well, if I tell them how many ducks I shot because we had a really good year, they're going to lower the limit next year. Like,
how many people think that, though?
Not how that works, dude. Probably not a ton, but it's,
Yeah, exactly.
It's a percentage.
I try to be honest.
I try to be honest, too. Like,
we should manage the resource properly.
We should. Nobody wants to hunt them to extinction again. I like having, we've been on a really good run here of having, the full amount of days allotted by the federal framework, the most amount of ducks allotted by the federal framework.
Dude, it's a lot of meat.
Let's keep it going.
We can't sell this shit. Like somebody told me, or somebody was like, "Why do you band hunt? Like that's not fair." I'm like, dude, I can't eat 5 geese a day every day in September.
It's not fair. Well, I like
no,
you're going to skew the data.
Yeah, they're just band hunter shit talker, whatever. And like I was like, dude, I can't eat 5 geese a day in September and 3 geese a day till Christmas, and I want to go hunting. There's a certain point where you've shot 10 geese. Like, dude, I'm single. I have nobody here but me.
Time to gift them.
I get myself some goose burger and some
sticks,
cheesy brats, and some maple sausage. Yeah. And
jerky's always a good way to go. Everybody loves goose jerky. Like literally everybody.
Yeah, and I'm hunting, but I don't need to clean a goose tonight. Like,
yeah, right.
Dude, how many geese you need to eat? But yeah, you're saying like. They give us plenty of birds.
Yeah, we get a lot of birds. And especially if you're saying like the average in Minnesota is 3.5 and the limit's 6 a day and it's taking you 60 days to shoot 3.5.
Well, I'd say the average hunter hunts 2 days a year.
Yeah, there is a lot of people that do opening day.
Yeah.
And then they're done.
Yeah, that's it.
And they go to the same slough every year, no scouting involved.
Buddy's cabin on a lake somewhere.
Oh, and that's why they think the duck population is so low. It's because the ducks. We used to have ducks all over this pond 35 years ago.
And you might again in 5 years from now.
Yeah.
In the area that we were hunting that has a shit ton of birds, which is why
geese normally, but not ducks.
Which you don't want me to say. I saw a report following that weekend of somebody bitching about low duck numbers in that general area. That has to be a guy that goes. It's either one of two things. One, he's trying to throw people off the scent on purpose. He's running defense on his birds, or B, he's the kind that goes to the same field or the same pond every year, and if they're not there, then the ducks just aren't in the state.
Well, I mean, but look at like Lacaparo Lake. I mean, everybody knows about Lacaparo Lake. Used to have 100,000 geese on it every
Consistent.
year.
You never hear about it anymore.
And now, last time I drove by Lacaparo, the goose number was 0 on the board out in front of the state office.
More than that now.
But I mean, this was 2 years ago.
You just don't really hear about it anymore. And I don't know if that's just because it's no longer a special place. Because it used to be like in the 80s when somebody shot a goose.
It was a big deal.
Dude, that spread like wildfire without the internet.
Yeah.
Like you would hear about it like so-and-so's brothers, so-and-so, blah, 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 mailman's cousin's dog watcher's girlfriend shot one in Lacaparo. And it was always Lacaparo.
Yeah.
Always.
And you can't tell me that just because there's 0 or 10,000 geese on Lacaparo now, that there's not more geese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's more geese in the world.
There's more.
Right,
there's so many more geese in the world.
There,
just because they changed their flyway one way or the other.
Right.
You've been there for sure on like 120,000 bird days.
Yeah, I mean it was crazy.
I've been in Lacaparo on a 300,000 bird day.
And like what 99, 2000. I mean it was insane.
I went out to Lacaparo. I went out to Lacaparo in like 2011. Because they had a goose number of like 18,000. And it was December. It was like early December, and there was very few geese like anywhere. But I knew Lacaparo had 16 or 18,000. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go out there and see what I can't do. But that's the last time where I was like, I should just go to Lacaparo. 16 to 18's like, I mean, you can follow a bunch of feed lines out and maybe get some like a good traffic field.
Yeah.
There's opportunity with that, but that's the last time I went there, like specifically like, fuck, there ain't no birds. What does Lacaparo have? I'll go out there, like 2011. But they get good ducks now. Like out west now, we've had such good ducks the last 3 to 4 years.
I know Mud Lake out that way used to be really good too, right on the border. I haven't heard much about that either. And maybe that's just because bird numbers are up everywhere, that people spread out. And so there's still birds there, but not as many people are hunting it, so you just don't hear about it as much.
Well,
There's more water. There's more
That's
places
true,
to when there's more water, there's more ducks. There's more
And
places for people to
and
hunt.
this year for sure, it's wet. And I've been telling people too, like, here's the thing with waterfowl numbers. Here's your report. There's a lot of them around, but there's a lot of water, so they're going to be spread out.
Yeah, sometimes it can balance itself where there's so many like waterfowl in the general area, or you're in a spot that you know they go to dedicated to feed.
And what we've been finding in our scouts is, like, you can cover a lot of ground and not see anything, and they all seem to be going to the same field for whatever reason. Then you'll find just a shit pot of them in this one small area. I don't know why that is. You think they would be...
Birds are really good at finding bird food.
Yeah, and finding other birds. I mean, they're very gregarious by nature. Obviously, they flock up. But
It's bizarre.
it's crazy how they can
It's a mystery
find it.
to
Yeah.
humans, that's for sure.
For us, the key has just been crops that are out, like the silage. And some of our usual spots that we scout just have been kind of not completely devoid of birds, but not the numbers that you really want to go chase. But the silage corn hasn't been
I'm gonna
coming
piss.
out yet. And it's, they kind of want the grain now. They don't, they're not, you can still get them in green fields, especially on a warm day. They seem to go back to green, especially the loaf and green fields for sure during the day if it's raining or something. But what we've been finding, and again, I'm not saying this is gospel, but this is what we've been seeing with our own eyes, is that areas of the state or the country that have at least silage corn coming out, and now a lot of beans are starting to come out, but I really haven't seen a ton in the beans.
I was out western Minnesota last weekend for pheasant opener, and I think I saw maybe 7 bean fields completely out, and I saw one cornfield with the silage cut through it, and that was it. But it's so wet.
Were there any birds in it?
No, there was. I didn't see hardly any geese.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we drove out there about 7:30 in the morning. Well, I mean, we were out there from Wilmer west,
Sure. Yeah.
and all I saw were ducks. I didn't see any geese out that way. But I mean, I wasn't specifically
really
looking.
scouting for them.
Yeah, we were on the main.
But it seems to me
blacktops.
it's like there's like these mini bird movements. You got your normal like latitude migration, but it seems like if you can find feed,
that's where they're going to be.
and that's where they are. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not where they're going to be. That's where they are. And so it's like usually this time of year we're finding ducks in this area, but ducks and geese, we're just not finding them there. But then you look and all the crops are still standing. You're like, well, why would they be here?
Yeah,
There's
I
nothing
think
for them to eat.
it's been so wet this year that the crops are coming out so late, and I think a lot of the corn and stuff like that isn't even going to come out this year because it's just so.
Might not.
It's so wet
It
that
just keeps raining.
the farmers ain't going to make any money, so they're not going to pull them. They're just going to claim insurance.
I know some of the guys, like, they're just taking a loss on their beans because the moisture content is still really high, but they're like, fuck it, I'm cutting them, because it costs money to dry them.
Yeah.
If you bring them right to the, the sale lot or whatever the hell you call it, they give you, pennies on the dollar for them because the moisture, because then now they have to dry it. Now they have more expense to turn around and sell it to whoever they're selling it to.
I think they charge you, whatever you're. I don't know. I shouldn't even talk on it. Really. I don't know the charging.
I know a little bit about it, but not a ton. But I know that like farmers want it to be a certain moisture content, and if they bring it in with too high of a content, they get docked per bushel. Like because now they have to dry it before they can sell it. So it's like not everybody has their own dryers, and it's how you want nature to dry it out, but it's just been raining like every 3 days. So it's like shit ain't drying out.
Me and you, we've done hunts out western Minnesota where we've been hunting beans like September 15th, September 17th in that range. Like some years it's so dry it comes out.
Yeah.
And I mean, you get like different seasons based on these different harvests.
Depends when they get it planted too.
Absolutely. I truly believe that like migrators, they're obviously not moving like into Minnesota because snow kicked them out of Canada. There's no snow anywhere. So it's a food-based migration. So
I think that's what
they
we're
start
dealing with.
they start harvesting different crops in different areas like geese.
Somehow they know.
They know.
I've seen green corn in the last week where it's still green, and I've seen corn that looks like it's ready to pick at the
Right.
same time, just because of how
And
wet it
everything in
was and
between.
how high the seed
Yep,
and how high this
yeah.
field is. You know,
I've seen the same thing.
yeah.
Every season depends. How many birds do you have? How much bird food do you have? You know, like
Right.
that's how many birds you're gonna have. Like how much like places for birds to sleep and places for birds to eat do you have in the area? Well, if it's not a lot,
And what we
it's not going to be a lot of
what we've been
birds.
seeing recently, like, and I mean just the last few days, and then maybe they're just loafing in there. I don't know, but we're seeing birds in like flooded bean fields, unharvested. Just
Oh yeah, I've seen that many
just today
times.
driving around. Well, it's kind of in the cities, but
You get any sort of low spot,
there was
they'll
like
land
a
out
bunch
there.
of geese just standing in they were in a standing bean field. All right, whatever.
Dude, how about that pigeon field you found?
Oh, that was a cool one.
Standing, what was it?
Standing barley and
Barley-
sweet peas.
Barley and sweet pea mixture.
Yeah.
That sounds.
The guy
juicy.
finished his hogs with them.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool hunt. It was a really fun hunt.
Well, he
But-
told you like, because Tom sent me all these snaps and stuff of like pigeons landing in a standing, like I could tell it was like small grain and greeny shit. Like what is going on out there? It's like barley, peas. He goes, yeah, we can hunt it. I got permission. I was like, what? What?
Yeah, no.
He goes, no, he'll harvest it first, and he said we can go out there after.
Nice.
75 pigeons, 3 bands, so 1 out of 25
I
ratio.
haven't shot a pigeon band yet, but we don't really go pigeon hunting. We talk about it every year, but then there's fishing in the summer, so
I got the last 2 pounds of cow
That's
we
'cause-
bought from
that's
that
'cause you're
dude
gay,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's a ton of fun. I love shooting pigeon, but
Yeah.
it's like it's just one of those things we talk about every year, and then every year we don't do it.
You got to dedicate yourself to it because you can find pigeon feeds.
Oh, for sure, and they're usually
I
huge.
mean, that one was pretty close to the metro too, which we're close to my old house, so that was nice and convenient. But
Dude, tell him about buying a cow from that guy.
oh yeah, then we bought a cow from the guy. You know, so
Turns out he was like
he was a cow farmer, and
Yeah.
he bought like some Wagyu cows. You know, it's
Is
like
that
the
Kobe-
breed.
Kobe
it's
beef?
it's the
Kobe
Kobe. It's the
beef,
Kobe
yeah.
beef, but in America they call it
Yeah,
Wagyu
right.
because
Yeah.
you're not Japanese. You
like
can't have it.
champagne
Yeah.
is only France, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. I don't know.
So Kobe has to come from the island of Japan.
Yeah.
Right.
So there was a Wagyu cow, so of course we bought a cow from him, and so then
Was he massaging it?
no.
playing
It's
classical
not like
music
that.
for
But
it?
he did feed it corn, so
And cannabis.
and cannabis.
Really?
Yeah, we were hunting out there, and I was like looking down at my foot. I'm like, what is that green leafy thing? It looks just like weed. I'm like, holy cow, that's a
weed.
That's a tiny little nub of a cannabis plant. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I was like, that is too. And I looked to the right, like, that is too. To the left, like, wait a second. Wait. Is every green foliage I see in this entire area cannabis? And I was like, yes, it is. And
So Nick went back to the hardware store and got a weed burner.
No,
I'm gonna be laying in this shit.
Yeah.
but like down in the pasture, like it was just like bit off like short grass. Like they're just eating it as it grew.
Yeah, cows are just eating.
And then in the corner of the manure pit, we found like some 30-foot weed plants that look like
I'm sure-
skyscrapers. I could smell it like 100 yards away from.
Ditch
Is that
like legit
weed?
good cannabis, or was it
No,
like ditch weed,
no.
or was it hemp?
It was hemp.
It was hemp. It was hemp. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a nearby hemp field.
Yeah, and I think it was probably left over from whenever they grew hemp in
Yeah,
Minnesota, because
sure.
Minnesota used to produce a lot of hemp.
Yeah, every place did.
Yeah, because it was
Fucking-
cash
So we
crop.
called that our cannabis cow that we bought,
Yeah.
and it is so fucking
cannabis
delicious,
cow.
dude. You wouldn't believe how delicious it is.
But so we went to go pick up this cow, and me and Nick have never bought a cow, so we had no idea how much meat was involved in a cow.
A lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
So I
We
drove.
We brought
I-
2 coolers with.
yeah,
That's not enough.
We brought 2 whole coolers, 2 30-quart
Is this a
coolers.
mini cow?
So I drive my 2002
God,
Impala.
hilarious. Oh my god!
So
How did you get it all home?
well, we put
It's
about a
interesting.
quarter of it in the trunk, and the other 3/4 in the back seat.
Was the farmer just like shaking his head like
No, we literally
city guys?
Yeah.
he literally put in this meat, and we closed the trunk, and we're like, thanks a lot, guys. We really appreciate all the work. They're like, what?
That's a quarter, bro.
That's a quarter. I was like, so we have 25% of the meat of this animal in the vehicle right now? Yes. Yes.
Oh
you
God,
did.
that's hilarious.
And we broke your struts on the way home. It felt,
wow.
dude, the back of the vehicle was so heavy, like you could barely turn. Like it felt like we were floating.
Steer with the finger.
Yeah.
I did that loaded down with sod once in my old pickup. I was like, I don't think my truck's rated for this. Springs are flat.
Can I abruptly change subjects?
You sure can.
I've been asking everybody this season about their migrator experiences, and I want to know yours because I know we did a very successful migrator / X-field hunt together. But what's worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? What have you noticed was your best days weather-wise? What was your worst days weather-wise? I'm getting a lot of interesting answers from people. I want to hear yours.
This year, I guess I would say we've had 3 successful, what I would call migrator days.
Okay.
The one with you, obviously. And then we had 2 similar days like
The
that.
next day was Geese too.
It was okay. Wasn't as good.
But we still had a pretty, well, we got 10.
Yeah.
And they were 100% migrators, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We kind of thought we would see more, like we call it lost puppies, like because there was a migration day.
Some of those were lost puppies, weren't they?
Some of them, but no, we thought there would be more.
Yes, we thought there would be more
local
birds
because it was a migration day before. We saw lots of flocks.
Yeah,
migrating.
I fucked up some lost puppies before. Yeah.
So we kind of thought, well, this area should load up. You know,
what
the
have you
local
seen
wastewater treatment plant in town.
That day that I was leaving the field and you were coming in, did you guys kill any geese that night with Joel? Or see any migs?
God, I don't remember.
Because Joel saw a flock of migs when I was parking my car, obviously. Said he broke like 4 of them off. They circled and joined the flock again. And then I could only stay for like an hour.
Right, yeah. We didn't smash by any stretch, but we did see some
Did you
birds.
shoot a bird or two?
God, I don't remember.
Nah.
It
wasn't
couldn't have been out.
great.
Couldn't have been lights out, or I would have
Yeah.
remembered it.
Dude, I've been having the best migrator season out of anybody I've talked to. Like, there's so many hunts I've seen that have gotten burned out, and I always usually get a few burnouts too. But
Well, I remember talking to you one weekend when we hunted migrators, where we didn't get a ton of birds on the ground, but we saw a lot of flocks.
okay,
So I remember texting you. You know, it's like, hey,
was
what
that
do
before our hunt?
What do you? I think it was after.
So late
Maybe
September.
it was before, but no, I think it was after. Because I remember asking you, like, what are you seeing today? Because I find it interesting to see what other people are seeing on the same day. Because it's interesting to me that almost region-wide or statewide birds act the same. You know, you would think there'd be a little more variance, but because I saw, and I remember that. You seemed kind of surprised. I was like, oh, I think we saw like 12 to 15 flocks. And you're like, really? Because everybody I've talked to had only seen like a handful, and you'd seen a bunch that day.
Right.
You were hunting a pasture. I think it was one of your gentlemen horse
Wait, with
pasture
my
hunts
dad?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
no, that's the day I want to talk about too, because I counted 16 flocks. I like to count migrator flocks. Like, let me get a general idea. Like, was it a lot? Was it a little?
And I'm not an exaggerator. So I think I said like conservatively a dozen, but I think it was more than that.
Where were you?
And same field that we hunted. Pine City.
Oh, okay. And you saw like a dozen.
Yeah.
That's the best.
At least
that's
a dozen.
That's the best I heard, other than me, which was 16.
And you were hunting
North Metro.
Okay.
Yeah, birds coming from the north to the south into Minneapolis.
Okay.
And yeah, I talked to Joe Hines. I'm like, hey man, I'm at like 10 migrator flocks this morning. It's 9:15 a.m. Not bad. How you guys doing? He was in Fergus Falls. He's like, there's one flock. It might have been in migrators.
Maybe.
They're really high, but it's not confirmed, but it's possible. I'm like, what? I've got fucking 9 confirmed flocks here by 9 a.m. And then everybody else, like 2 flocks, 3 flocks, 4 flocks.
We saw a bunch.
And you saw a bunch, and I saw a bunch.
But we couldn't. They didn't want to come down. I don't know if they had just left. Like where if it was. I don't know what the deal was, but we did shoot a few birds that day, but it wasn't anything. When you feel like if you see a dozen migrator flocks.
Okay, and the day after that, when me and my dad saw 16 on the north side of the metro, me and Tom live in the north suburbs here. Where do we have to go? Over to
University.
No, that 169 and 610
Oh,
field.
that place is absurd.
Oh yeah. Oh, we saw like 5. We went up to Sportsman's.
Sportsman's
to buy you a
Warehouse.
gun case. Yeah,
Yeah, we bought that traveling gun case
Yeah.
of mine. That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
So we go up to
that
sports.
intersection is
Yeah, that's always been that way. For 25 years, it's been that way.
it's absurd.
We saw.
But
yeah.
to that day, me and my dad hunted the day previous. We saw 16 mig flocks, did a great gentleman's band hunt. Me and Tom were talking like to get together and do something that next Sunday or the next day, and yeah, we drove out there, and I was like, that's like 3,000 to 5,000 geese, and the biggest feed I've seen so far this year is like 140.
right, yeah. Where are all these birds?
And then we were driving home from there, and there was geese in like every single ditch, every single.
Oh, that was one of your on your snap
Yes.
stories, everything in town.
And
You're
me-
like,
I was
listen,
like-
if you got nothing to do, drive around town.
Yes, and that's what me and Tom did. I said, we're stopping at my house, we're grabbing my binoculars, and we're just going to go drive around town and check geese. And that's what we did for like an hour. Like, you would drive a block and be like, there's 40 of them. And we'd pull over and be like, no bands. Didn't see a band or nothing crazy.
And we saw the same thing. So I hunted south of the cities that day, the day following.
Sunday?
It was kind of misty and rainy and
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I think we shot a couple geese. We ended up shooting like 7 doves. Like this field we were in, the silage field, was like just shit stacked with doves. Like they were just everywhere. We're shooting with BB. I mean, we didn't go out there for doves, you know?
Crazy.
Like it was just dumb. But we just didn't see that many geese. And then on my way home, I like pulled off to, I think I had to get gas or something. And there's this tiny little grassy median. It wasn't even that big. Like
25, 50
yeah,
honkers.
20. It's shit stack with like geese. Like
It was
Why are you
insane.
here? And how did you get here without getting hit by a car? That's crazy.
Where were they?
Medians.
Well, no, name all the places we stopped. Olive Garden.
Olive Garden. Yeah.
There's geese there.
The car wash.
The car wash. There's
Garlic
geese at the
Goose
car
and
wash.
Yeah.
Oh, Bachman's.
Bachman's. Yep. All over
Bachman's.
Bachman's.
Dude,
Flowers.
we were doing the whole University Avenue thing.
Crazy.
And there's hella geese up at the Blaine soccer fields.
Oh, always.
Yep. Me and Tom went out there for a
those
late.
Blaine soccer fields are almost like 160. Not as bad as 169.
No,
and-
no.
There was probably about
610,
5.
but-
When I left work today at about 3, there was probably about 500 to 600 out there.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
It was pretty.
It was cloudy.
Cloudy.
It was cloudy then. Before the sun came out this afternoon towards sunset.
Right.
but-
I've seen birds in those areas like late season when it's like cold and they want like high energy like corn and generally like any kind of combine cornfield to be shit stacked. There's in that area for whatever reason they're still eating grass.
No, I think there's pods of geese that only do eat grass, and they do
That's
not go to
possible.
grain fields.
Because it's like I'll see them late and I'm like, why are they in grass? They're
Yeah,
still
I mean,
in the
I
soccer
work
field.
right next to those soccer fields, and I drive by them every day. So I mean, there's all there. I mean,
And I think it's
consistently.
safe. Obviously, they don't
Yeah.
get hunted there.
Dude, it's
They
certain.
have all the food they want. It's like
Dude, after chasing geese and like banded pods of geese like all over North America, like they have their own weird, unique characteristics, and you start to figure out like why they band geese in certain areas because they want to study why this weird flock does this. That's why they put weird bands on them, like tarsals and that sort of thing. And they've got their own behavior characteristics. It's like every goose that does this sort of behavior has been born on this island for the last how many tens of thousands of years, you know? So there's some geese that are like the ones that winter in downtown Chicago. Those are tundra geese. You know, they are coming to that area because for whatever reason, that park in Chicago plants the grass seed they like. And it's the same with the Rockies going like way west to California. They're just going to grass. Like they're grass feeding geese, and that's all they eat, and that's all they've ate for thousands of years. And they're in downtown parks. People are like, look at these golf course geese. Like you don't realize like that thing is
real.
4,400 miles north. It's up saying hi to Santa when it's having babies every spring. You know, like
yeah, it's crazy.
See, yeah.
they never leave the city. Like
Yeah, I
that's
remember
because
seeing-
they love that food.
And I remember seeing a video. It circulates around every couple years or so, but it was like a shit ton of snow geese like walking down the streets of a town.
Mhm.
I've never seen a snow goose in town ever. Like,
That-
they're always out in ag land, you know.
That
Yeah.
tribe of snow geese, whatever, like when they act the same and they're from the same like general area, they're tribes pretty much. Like they have weird behaviors and they'll do weird things. Like that'll surprise you. Like, oh, yeah, agriculture feeding snow geese are what I normally see, but you don't realize how many fucking weird tribes of geese are out there that like
Town snows.
that are looking for like a certain color of grass and like there it is, boom.
This is crazy.
It is crazy.
Their eyes must pick up better on color.
They
or
must
UV.
they must see
'Cause, I mean,
shit
they're-
that we can't.
yeah.
I mean,
Dude, they
obviously,
know where the
clearly.
food is. They
yeah.
know
Yeah.
where you can fucking
From a mile high. They were like, "Hey, there's corn down there."
Yeah.
yes.
I swear they can hear combines churning from
Well-
1,000 miles away. Because when they these migration days, how do they know which direction to fly to find the silage field?
Well, I feel like
I don't
you know,
know.
they have a
But
better
they seem to know
internal
somehow.
They do
internal
know.
compass. And like you were saying, you know, the day you saw, 16 flocks and you saw 10. Well, both you guys were in the same general line.
we were.
close.
There,
Yeah,
you know,
north.
the low pressure, high pressure wall could have been right
That's
there,
true, too.
where
Yeah.
it was splitting right
Heinz
there.
and Fergus could have been in
Yeah.
a completely
Yeah.
different weather pattern.
And, and I think that little bit of change of barometric pressure, whether it's 29 inches of mercury or 30,
Right.
it makes them do different things.
Yeah.
Also, like historical flight paths too. Like the field we hunted there, it's like this
I don't
is
know.
always a high traffic area.
I don't know.
Always.
I
be
feel like they
honest-
follow major roadways like 35 or 65.
I
Or,
think they
you know.
will follow major roadways, but when somebody says the word historical migration path, I'm like, I get skeptical because water changes, food changes, and the birds change immediately with
Yeah.
it. Like, dude, you had a great season last year with a lot of food, a lot of water, and for whatever reason, the conditions end up with you
Well,
not
but,
having that. You aren't shooting shit, man. It's not historical that
Yeah.
you're going to do well.
Well, it's not historically you do well, but historically you see birds because whether the crops are in or out or whatever it is, but like
No,
this
I don't
particular
think so.
area, it's got a river, it's got a couple rivers, it's
I don't
got
think
a
so.
couple lakes that never change, and there's a shit plant that can't be hunted.
I don't think
it's
so.
Consistent roosting.
I don't think if you have good water without good food, if one part is missing than the other, they are not coming. Straight up, they're not coming.
Well, they might fly past it, but they're not coming down. If there's no food, they may not come down to eat.
They're not coming, dude. They're not coming anywhere near it.
When they leave,
There's plenty of good waterfowl habitat in the world. You know what I mean?
True.
Within 1,500
But when-
miles of here,
but
there's
when
good
they-
waterfowl
when they
habitat.
leave-
They're going there.
Thunder Bay, how do they know that there's no food in Pine City?
I don't fucking know, but they know. They fucking know. And that's what's the craziest shit. You're like, this is a historical migrator path. It was last year, dude. It was good last year.
I don't know. I'm only going off of my experience, and we always see migrators in this area.
All right,
I'm not
all right.
saying
Do you know
we
what?
shoot them, but
Here-
we see them flying.
Here's a historical pattern for you. I've been putting corn in my front yard for 7 years. I've been putting corn out there and feeding mallards.
Put them out there yet?
No, it's like mid-November. We got a month to go. I'll have ducks in my yard. But 7 years straight, I've had ducks in my yard eating corn every single day. If I don't put corn out there for one day, I don't have ducks. It's not historical that they land here and check. They
gotta
fucking
see it.
know.
They have to
They
see
know.
it. Like,
no.
corn must
they
like
don't.
glow
No.
like a neon
It's not
Pabst Blue
Dude,
Ribbon
they-
sign.
they
Well,
fucking
that's
know.
how Monsanto made it.
Yeah, right.
If it snows an inch over my corn, they know the corn's there.
That's insane.
It's insane!
It's glowing through the. You can't stop
If
it.
the deer come out here in
how
the
hard
night,
it's snowing, I can see that premium sign.
yeah, because I got so with my yard
Turning
too,
in.
I got to put corn out there every day because at night the deer will clear it out. So if I come home late from work or I didn't happen to get corn out there, fresh corn that day, they're not there, dude. They know. And if you think, oh well, they always migrate to this area, well, what if you have your crops wiped out? What if the water isn't good that year? They're not coming. They're not coming because it's historical. They're not coming to my front yard
They might just not
the
stop.
next day.
And would you
They're
know?
they're
But
going
here's the thing,
somewhere
though.
else where it is good.
Would you know? Because this is hard to quantify this theory. Because would you even know?
No.
Because if you're not going to be there, if no crops are out, there's no reason for you to be hunting that area. Are you even going to be in that area
Yes,
watching?
because people hunt the same pond every year.
Well, some people do. They're idiots.
Most people do. They're not idiots. They're having fun.
Well,
They're idiots
Well,
about trying to be successful.
Yes.
before the
Okay,
band.
they're not idiots, but smart people do stupid things at times.
Yeah, but if you think this is a historical migration path, dude, that shit can shift 100 miles, 250 miles so easy in the blink of an eye.
Well, what about those geo trackers they put on ducks? Remember that one duck ended up way out west. And
Well, they did the Delta Waterfowl
Yeah,
has
that's
the
what I'm
geo.
talking about.
They have surgical implants. Might be the coolest band in existence right now. One's a fed band. One says, Bird has transmitter located inside body. Please call this number.
Wow.
Hen ringnecks. And they're doing it in like
Ooh,
the
I shoot hens.
only
So
shoot.
you're telling me there's a chance.
Dude, the first year they did it, they did like 16 or 20 hen ringnecks. 14 of them went through Minnesota, like some super high percentage. So if you got good ringneck spots, shoot them hens and look for the look for the antennas.
We're too deep into this podcast for people to be listening.
So many people clicked off when I was like, "This hen limit's bullshit. Green heads only, bro."
But
Red leggers for days.
yeah, they had ducks that'll go. They'll sit in an area for anywhere from 10 to 15 days, jump a few hundred miles, and they had some go up the East Coast, some go up not East Coast, but East Flyway. Atlantic Flyway.
Oh, Atlantic Flyway.
They did it at the
I knew what you meant.
Florida-Georgia line in January or February, wintering.
That's a country band. Well, country in air quotes.
Right. Anyways. But they all ended up in like the same kind of general breeding area, even though they went up like different flyways. Like some would go up to New York and then cut west across the Great Lakes and end up in Duluth.
Yeah, they do weird shit.
And some would go through Kansas.
There's always,
but even those, they fly like 2,000 miles in a couple days.
Yeah, it's no issue.
Yeah.
There's always some like
And they
outliers, but it's a numbers game. Like the majority of them come through this flyway, and the majority of them come through that flyway. And then you got those outliers that like, who the hell knows?
Maybe.
And that might be just whether it's random mutation or
It's
just
not.
how nature works, or like this is how they keep the gene pool strong, is by every now and again you gotta throw a wanderlust duck in there, so he was born on the East Coast and eventually lives on the West Coast. I don't know.
That does happen. That does.
Well,
yeah.
like they shoot those Japanese ducks or the Russian ducks.
Well, there's Russian snow geese that get
Yeah,
shot every
yeah.
year.
Russian snows.
The
Yeah.
Russian
And then
snows, yeah.
there's been 7 Japanese
I want a Kamchatka
pintails,
band.
Japanese pintails.
all
yeah.
killed in California.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Oh, pintail.
Getting a
Oh,
pintail band with a bunch of Japanese symbols on it.
That would be
sick.
I don't know how to call this in. Am I supposed to pick this up with chopsticks? What do I do here?
Does it come
Do I
with
just
rice?
eat this with rice?
Some dudes in Arkansas, I think it was last season,
racist.
They shot a Russian bean goose.
The hell
Which
is a
looks
bean goose.
It looks very similar to a speckle belly. Like
Okay.
It's got some bill coloration differences. I'm sure like some size differences. It doesn't have the bars across the chest. Lesser
Boring slate gray, like a gray leg.
Well, lesser, yeah, like a
Lame.
gray leg. Well, lesser and greater white fronts are the only geese that have any color variation. The bars will change
Oh, true.
bird to bird. No other goose does that. No other species.
Good point.
Yeah,
That's the bean goose. Yeah, that looks like a
gray leg,
gray leg
Or a speck.
a Toulouse, like
Yeah,
a farm duck, like a farm goose.
juvie speck with no weird or no cool colors.
Bill's kind of neat.
Yeah,
It's
the
got
bill's
yellow,
neat.
little black on it.
But somebody was smart enough.
I mean, I'd shoot it.
Somebody was smart enough to say, "Hey, this is a farm goose or a
Yeah.
weird large speckle belly." I don't know, but they genetic tested it. They run the DNA, and they
like,
say
that's different.
that thing
See,
definitely
a
came
neat
from
species.
Russia. Yeah, but they do
be
wander
cool.
around. But dude, when they migrate down these flyways, I don't see any confusion. I don't see any hesitation. Like, for whatever reason, they jump from where they are and they fly 10 hours and they go to where it's good.
It was just a couple weeks. Was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago where somebody in Minnesota shot a barnacle?
Yes. Yeah.
That
Braden Moeller.
motherfucker's lost.
Yeah. I've seen there's been at least a handful of barnacles killed in the central flyway, but on the southern end, like Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. They've seen a couple dead
They
barnacles.
must just get mixed in with like a group of cacklers or something. and
Exactly, yeah.
Just they're like, where are we going? We're going over here now? Okay, I guess we're going over here. Wow, this is weird.
Right? I mean, what if
How come this water isn't salty?
what if like some geese, some barnacle geese ended up like nesting with some lesser snow geese on a weird island in the tundra?
I've heard of people like in northern states shooting mottled ducks. Like they must just come, like they get
And how would you
wintering mallards are just like, hey, we're headed north. And the guy, where are we going? We're going this way? Okay,
Yep.
we're going this way. Well, sure, it's cold up here.
Well, you've been to that Ortonville Museum.
Yes,
How many ducks did that guy shoot off Big Stone?
most of them.
So how many different
So many.
weird species of ducks did he shoot?
A lot.
Yeah.
Sea
Well,
ducks
and then you got to
Yeah.
think. You got to think. Some of these are game farm escapees. Some of these might actually be natural, very wanderers or
there
or
are
whatever.
aviaries that have
Yeah.
weird birds, and sometimes they fly away.
Well, you shot that pintail that just had number 8 on it, right, or number 6 or something
Yeah, it was
weird
like
like
60. We shot a banded hen pintail that had. It's like, oh my god, it's banded, and then we looked at it. It was like 63. That's all it said on it. And it's like, all right,
Okay.
all right.
And we shot number 63.
We shot 63, I guess. Yeah. I've seen a guy, he had a band on his lanyard. It said Nathan. Like, what happened with that? And he's like, a pair came in. We shot him, and one of them was Nathan.
Shot Nate, man.
I got a private band on
Oh,
a hen mallard.
nice,
All right.
nice.
Stillwater.
Dope.
I never did call it in.
I saw somebody else shot a banded numbered pintail in Illinois.
I got to start doing that. I think we might have talked about this last time, but I want to, or maybe we just talked about it in the field. But I didn't do it this year, but usually every year on my little hobby farm, I buy 8 to a dozen mallard ducklings. And I just raise them with all my other birds, and then most of them fly away, probably to get shot in Carlos Avery 5 minutes after they leave. But I had a hen that stuck around for a couple seasons. She was a great mom. She raised a few broods of chickens. Because they never, she didn't get bred by any drakes. She would lace a clutch of eggs, but they would never hatch. But chickens are weird. Like, if they see a bunch of eggs on the ground, they're like, "Oh, this is where we're laying eggs now," and then just poop them out.
Then the hen
under a
mallard
bush.
raise them.
Yeah. So the next thing
That's
you know, I
awesome.
see this. Wah, 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 she's quacking, walking through the yard, and there's 8 chickens behind her, 8 baby chicks behind her, and she was a really fierce mom, but then she got jacked by like a hawk or something. But
I'm going to get some bands
the
that just
risks
say
of a free
Did
range
you try her
flock.
duck eggs, her unfertilized duck eggs? Did you cook them up?
I know.
you would.
I don't know
You
how-
would.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
I did
Yeah.
because I don't know how long they're sitting there.
put a little morel mushrooms in there that you
Ooh,
foraged
that
this
sounds good.
spring.
The
you know.
omelets,
Yeah.
morel, and
Yeah, some
duck egg
mints you
omelet,
found
that
in the
sounds good.
woods and
What's
shit.
that,
Something
half-
like
I
Wonder
got
Bread
wild
out of the
mint growing right
garbage.
in my yard.
What's that half-cooked duck egg? You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
The
That's
Frenchie. You tried it?
Yeah, a whole lot.
Beluga? No, not beluga.
Yeah, balut.
Balut. There we go.
So I visited a friend in California, and this was documented on the podcast, and we did a video. But he's like, "Hey, have you ever had balut?" I'm like, "Nope, but I'm game to try it." And I don't remember what it was. He's like, "All right, let's go. It's this Thai place." I'm like, "I'm cool. Well, let's do it." We get there. I'm like, "Wait a minute. Is this the egg thing?" He's like, "Yep." I'm like, "Shit, I already agreed to do it. Whatever. How bad can it be? I like eggs. I like chickens. Or I like eggs. I like duck. So how bad can it be?" I'm like, in the spirit of adventure, let's give it a shot. It's not bad. Oddly enough, it tastes like a mixture between eggs and chicken. It's like weird, huh?
It's not
The
like
texture-
bony.
No, that's that was my hesitation about. I was
The
like,
crunch.
if I crunch into a bone or a partially formed feather,
That'd be
it's gonna
weird,
be a little
yeah.
off-putting. Wasn't like that at all. So yeah, you crack open the top, you drink like the juice on top, and that was actually really flavorful. It was like chicken broth, basically. Then you scoop out the main thing, you eat it, tasted great. The part I wasn't crazy about was like the whites in the bottom of it, and this could be how they cooked it, I don't know. But it was almost had like it was really solid. It almost had like a wax texture to it. Wasn't terrible. Didn't have a lot of flavor to it. So overall, like,
It's kind of like
I would skip this part. Next time I would eat all the other stuff, but when it came to the white bottom, I'd be like, there's no point.
kind of like eating have you ever like deer fat or something like that or
It wasn't really tallowy. It didn't have like the waxy texture that deer tallow has.
Yeah.
It was just like, I don't know. It was waxy.
What's the weirdest thing you've ate?
Probably that.
All right. I doubt it.
I don't eat a lot of weird shit. I don't think I eat a lot of weird shit. I eat wild foods. I mean, bunch of different kinds of mushrooms, but not the psychedelic kind either.
Just like, take whatever you can find out of the woods, put it in a tea, hope you don't die.
No, I don't eat anything that I don't know what it is.
See, that's what makes me so gun shy about mushrooms is just I don't know anything about them,
Here's
and
here's the thing with mushrooms. I'll go down this rabbit hole just real quickly. When you start going into wild mushrooms, everybody kind of has that hesitation. That's a healthy hesitation to have. But when you actually start to look, and thanks to Google, you can look while you're in the field. You can be like, just Google, hey, it's a brown mushroom with a white stem, whatever
Yeah.
kind of descriptors you can think of. Google it, go to images, scroll through it till you find the one you're looking at, click on it. Oh, it's a blah, blah, blah mushroom. All right, now I Google blah, blah, blah mushroom edible. Boom, comes up, nope. or yes,
Yeah.
Is Chicken of the Woods good or Hen of the Woods?
Yeah. Well,
Somebody gave me
two different. Chicken of the
Yeah,
Woods is
God
bright
damn it.
orange. That's sulfur cap.
I wouldn't say mine was bright orange.
They're bright orange with the yellow one underneath.
Okay, what's the other one?
The Hen of the Woods is maitake.
What color is
Maitake
it?
mushroom. Brown. Tan.
Okay, this is what mine was.
Big clump like this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Grows at the base of oak trees.
Guy gave it to me. Let it go to waste.
Highly medicinal.
What do you mean? Like
They're
psychedelic?
rated as like a superfood.
Oh, superfood. All right. So not fawn.
But they're delicious too. They're great.
That's
they
what
make great.
I got it. I don't
They're
like
just-
mushrooms.
They're just a mushroomy flavor. Well, the good thing about if they don't like a lot of people don't like mushrooms because of the mushroom texture. These don't have a mushroom texture. They're firmer than
I don't
your
like the
regular
taste.
white button. Well, if you don't like the taste, you're probably not going to like it.
And I like a lot of foods, but I did open that bag up. I took a big old whiff of it, and I was like, smells pretty goddamn good, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I'd eat that shit.
I like it. People make jerky out of it, actually. Like, it has, like, petals, as it
Yeah,
grows
yeah.
off the head. And you just, like, you marinate them in, like, some sort of sauce, and then you basically bake them or freeze dry them, and you make Hen of the Woods jerky out of it.
Yeah,
That's
I
kinda
I haven't
cool.
tried that yet.
That's
but
cool.
I let it go to waste. I mean, I don't know. I want to do something with it. I'm not motivated because I'm not good at it in
Yeah.
any way or have enjoyed it. Well, I know somebody would appreciate it. I'll give it to them. And Then
I
that-
love
it's a
mushrooms.
week later.
Obviously I love mushrooms, but I love the flavor. I love the texture. I love all of it. But like the chicken
The
of the
trip?
woods, the
Like
orange ones, I do like that too. But the orange ones, the chicken of the woods, they are like, if somebody was like a vegan or a vegetarian, you could make chicken noodle soup out of this stuff.
Oh.
It's really thick and dense, and actually kind of like breaks apart in fibers like breast meat on a
okay.
on a
Have you
chicken
tried
breast meat.
an Impossible Burger?
I have not tried the Impossible Burger yet.
I
I've heard
haven't-
good things,
Yeah, I do too. I'd
but
never
I find
tried
no,
it. Tom?
I have not. No.
I find no reason other than experimentation to eat a fake meat.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's delicious.
Well, it could be,
It could be.
but you know what else is delicious? Cow
Meat?
flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
but
go
I mean,
with
like,
that.
so are Oreos. There's no meat in that, and I don't.
True.
I mean, I just like them.
True.
What if I really liked Impossible Burgers?
Well then,
I've
eat
never
'em.
tried one because
Well,
I'm on
go
your
try
team.
one.
I'm on your team.
Yeah, be your own team.
I have
You gotta-
eaten vegan burgers before, and
not a fan.
I mean, they were like,
soy
it's probably
burgers are
like
gross.
15 years ago,
Yeah.
and they were like black bean
Technology
burgers
has come
or-
a long way.
Yeah,
They're making,
probably.
They're making meat in labs nowadays.
Yeah.
So
Well,
who the
everybody
fuck
says
knows?
they're good, but I order burgers like once a month. I'm gonna get one made out of a cow.
Yeah, right.
Like if I was doing 3 to 5 a week, like
said, I'll
throw an
try it.
Impossible in that shit. Let's
I'll
try it out.
out of just pure
I'd try it.
experimentation.
I-
I'll eat anything once.
I can't say
Well,
the
I
last
wish I
time I
wouldn't
was
say-
at a Burger King, though, to try one.
No, but they have them at like I've been on many restaurants where I see it on the menu and I'm like Impossible Burger. Everybody
I
says
thought it was just a
Burger
Burger King thing.
Yeah.
no, it's at
okay.
tons of
Actually, I
restaurants.
saw it was at White Castle now. They have Impossible sliders.
gross. That's just,
Dude, you go to any
hate White Castle,
a lot of
dude.
good burger joints,
I
man.
haven't been to one in forever.
Sorry,
Especially
if White Castle
like
wanted to advertise, but dude, your burgers are nasty.
you go to like an upscale bar anywhere around Minneapolis, or there's a lot of places that have a good burger menu, just like thrown in the middle of it, like Impossible Burger, and you're like, shit. They list all the cool stuff they put on it, and you're like, this sounds delicious. But no, like,
But no.
this is the one time I'm gonna order a burger for how long? I don't know. Like, bring me the most tortured animal
I'll
you could
try to
find,
remember.
please.
I'll attempt to remember to try one of those for you and give you a full report.
Yeah,
Maybe they're great.
maybe
And that's
they
the
are.
thing.
Maybe they taste
And
like an
that's the
Oreo
thing.
cookie. I don't
It's
fucking
like,
know.
I'm willing to try just about anything.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know what you're missing.
Why are
Right?
people-
Maybe it's the greatest thing you've ever had. I've never had horse, but I would try horse.
I'd definitely try one.
Why not?
I've never
But
had-
None of us have tried Impossible Burgers.
I've never.
I would
telling
try
you,
an
I'm gonna
Impossible
I will
Burger,
try
which would
one.
probably be a lot easier than trying
But
horse.
we haven't.
I would-
These things
I
have
would
been
eat dog.
available for years. People
I'd
have been
eat
telling
dog.
us they're
I'd eat that.
delicious for years, and we haven't tried them. Why not? There's something
Horse-
socially not acceptable. It's like
Horse
wearing a
actually
dress to the
used
grocery
be,
store.
Horse actually used to be common to eat.
Horse
Horses
tartare,
used to be
yeah.
common. Like
It was
there's
like really common, but
There's
now
horses
they're
everywhere.
Now they're
Everywhere.
pets.
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Now
dude.
they're,
Think about the industry that used to revolve around horses. They die in your neighborhood once a week. Like somebody's carving that fucker up and having a grill out.
Right, yeah.
Especially without pork people.
Yeah.
For real.
I mean, listen, we eat pigs. Those things are nasty. If you're watching the way they live, it's disgusting.
So like mid-season.
Oh, we're going back to that.
Mid-season report here.
Yeah.
I finished what I wanted to touch on. So what did you want to hit?
Well,
Nick, as usual, has a list.
I don't know. I was like, what are we going to talk about? Maybe have something to direct us. That did not work out.
Never does. Does not. Direction and this podcast are enemies.
I got some funny stories me and Tom have from like traveling together for 20 years.
Do it.
Nah.
Oh, here's what. Oh, I was gonna. So like we did the mid-season thing. What are your kind of expectations or forecasts for the rest of the season?
Good. Everybody will do well. Not everybody, but I mean, if your area has no bird food, you're not going to do well.
So just concentrate on feed, pretty much. Hopefully more and more crops start coming out. But.
I wrote something about buying snow goose guides recently.
Oh, yeah. That was a great write-up, dude. That really was.
Dude, I did it like 20 minutes right where you're sitting. Like I was like,
well,
I just got sick of seeing the whole like, what snow goose guide service do you recommend? And you get like 20 fucking recommendations, and they're all good for like different shit.
Different reasons.
Like, for different reasons.
Everybody's promoting their buddy or doing that and the other thing too. Or it's the one guide that they used and they liked them, so they're going to recommend them, which is fine. I'm not dogging on that, but it's like you have such a, why do you recommend a certain guide over the other guide? And also I think a lot of people, especially on those public forums or Facebook, that it's almost like they just like to hear them. They're excited about the upcoming season, and they just want to talk about it.
Right.
So they just kind of spit a subject starter out there.
So do I.
And then they go, and like now the conversation is going, and they're just scratching the itch. So I think there's an element of that too. But I thought your response was like spot on. Like it was.
Well, raise your hand if you never got a little over-aggressive on a Facebook. Like back and forth.
Me?
Yes.
Never.
No.
Never. Actually, I've gotten a lot better with it.
Dude, we all have, but we're all guilty too.
I used to get sucked into the political debates. I mean, I
Oh,
realized no one has ever read through a thread of political debates on Facebook with everybody calling each other an idiot or a snowflake or whatever, and at the end of it gone, you know what, I used to be a Trump supporter, but the way you called me an idiot really has me second-guessing this Hillary Clinton gal. Like, this just never going to happen.
Well, what about when you're getting blocked because you're in an argument on Facebook about the new the Avian X Snow Goose full body being a one-piece decoy? I was like, okay.
You got blocked?
Yeah, I was like, somebody's like, yeah, some guy's like, so glad Avian made a one-piece decoy. I'm like, okay, so what is the bungee strap insert and stake? Are those not pieces? You have a decoy with a bungee strap with an insert that attaches on a stake. I count 4! And that ended.
They had permanent heads, is what he's saying.
Yes. One piece is okay, I guess. No, there's 4 pieces there, and every one of them breaks.
Well, you don't have to use a stake.
But no, of course. So, like, I'm, like, having a bad day at work or something, and somebody's like, one-piece decoys. I'm like, well, actually, they're 4. And they're like, well, actually, fuck you. And then all of a sudden, you're like, damn.
Captain Literal.
Then all of a sudden, like, you're
That's
blocked
my
and
job.
you hate this person. Like,
Right.
we're all fucking guilty of doing that once and being, like, ashamed of it. Like, man, that ain't me.
In the history, in my history of Facebook, I have only, I think, straight blocked, like 1 or 2 people. And they're just people that have, like, because my business, whatever, I have a shit ton of friends who I don't know on there, and they just spam me with bullshit, just like.
You don't get dicks?
So,
My block list is long.
I haven't had any yet, and I
What?
don't want to. Shh, let's not give anybody any ideas. Don't want to see.
Dude.
It. So
Ashley sent me the biggest dick last weekend. It was.
I guess Ashley could be a guy's name. I mean, whatever.
No, it had like a chick emoji, like. Hi.
Told me that story.
Hello. That's all I said back. Hello.
That's hilarious. You're
Nothing
like,
else.
It's a girl.
And then I got
boom.
Bang. Like
pic.
twice as big as mine.
Oh my God, a 6-inch penis.
Maybe 5 3/4, but it's pushing it, dude.
No, but then I've unfriended 2 people. Well, they're both people I went to school with, but and it wasn't so much what they said to me, like we'd get in political debates or whatever. It's how I watched them treat other people. Like, I got thick skin. You can be an asshole to me. I'll just take it. Water off a duck's back, whatever. But the way when they did that, like the way they treated me, I saw them treat other people. It's like, you're just an asshole. Like, I just don't respect. I can agree to disagree on a lot of stuff, and it's not even the subject matter. It's the way you treat people with a varying opinion. You're just an asshole, and I don't need that negativity in my life. I really don't. So I'm like, you know what? You're gone.
Well, even like when you guys had that hunt up in where you were selling it.
Pine City.
Yeah, that thread from when you were trying to sell it on Facebook or whatever you were trying to sell it on. Yeah. That got viral really fast, too, I thought.
Did it?
Yes, because no, it's the next one because I sold the next one for $200.
Yeah. Oh, you showed that was
you
the
raised
one.
the price.
That the horse pasture
the
one
horse
I
pasture.
sold.
Yeah.
We sold that for $200 a blind, and people were like, "That's ridiculous." Blah blah blah, like that, and I was like, "That is one of the highest priced goose hunts you will buy in Minnesota." You're getting one of the best goose hunts that you can buy in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like that,
don't buy
it. Was totally price fair,
Listen,
and our clients that day were awesome too. And but it made me realize how lucky we are in Minnesota, man. Like, get in a spread. Get in some redneck spread that is running some trash decoys with some 10-year-old layout blinds, and it's $225 per day in any other state.
Yeah.
And the guides I've met in Minnesota are so top fucking notch. There's top-notch guides everywhere. But I'm just saying per capita.
Even in the fishing industry. Like,
Dude.
you want 8-hour fishing guide in the state, it's $400. $350 to
Is that good?
$400. No, it's shit. You go anywhere else in the country, $600 to $800 for an 8-hour charter.
Okay.
I think it's just because we have so much
competition.
higher demand here.
We have so many guides.
Yeah.
Dude, this is
it's
only state.
competition.
This is the only state
Market,
you could expect
it's what the
like
market,
something.
Market price.
You can get a doe hunt in Minnesota for $150 consistently.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah.
We have so many good guide services that are proficient and affordable. And you go around the country, it's just not like that.
You want a beer? There's some right there.
I was trying to Joe Rogan him.
Oh, gotcha. The
going-
microphone. He's trying to get you moved it away from you. I thought he was getting a little quiet
I
too.
feel like these mics are they keep floating away.
Well, they do when you put the beer
you're like,
together.
get out
that's
of my
what
way,
that
is.
and then you forget to put it back.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
I think so.
All
right.
Where are we talking about?
I don't know. Pick from the list that
The
I
same
wrote
thing kind
at
of
work
happened
today.
with ice fishing last year. I had the Yeti which is a luxury ice house wheelhouse to rent out. Costs more money. I charged a little more money. People are like, I can't believe you charged that for a wheelhouse. I can get one for $75 at Ed's Ice House Rental. Yeah? Well, if you want to hunt out of a 6x6 plywood shack, then do that.
Yeah.
That's not you don't stay at the Hilton for Super 8 prices.
Yeah.
Right. But dude,
But
you
people
do
in Minnesota are so fucking cheap that they just won't do it.
For goose hunting in Minnesota, you're hunting the Hilton for Super 8 prices. You really are.
Yeah.
Like Fergus Falls, when it's good, dude, we all know that's like one of the best spots.
Especially late in the year, it's one of the
few
spots that holds birds.
Let's
really,
just
really,
call
really,
it from
really
like
late.
from every single season for like 12 to 22 days. Let's call it that. Maybe even 15 to 22 days.
You're
That
saying
is
this is a historical migration path.
because it's a consistent food source. They lose their food in 2 months. Birds will no longer be there. I'm saying it.
Well, does consistency make history?
I don't like this argument.
Like liar, liar. I object. On what grounds? It's damaging to my.
What was I
argument.
saying?
Overruled. Good call. I don't remember.
Sidebar.
Yeah, sorry, derailed you.
You did
guides.
Oh yeah,
Guides.
dude. All right,
Yeah.
Fergus Falls, $150. You can get yourself in a hole in Fergus Falls. That's fucking crazy, man. That's one of the best goose hunting in the
premier
world
spots. Yeah.
for Canada geese.
Yep.
For 10 to 25 days a season, 15, 25 days a season, you're there on the right dates. Good God.
Yeah.
And you're paying cheaper than fuck, dude.
Yeah, what is it in Rochester? About the same?
Cheaper.
Cheaper?
Anywhere from like 100 to 200 a hole.
Wow.
But that's a great price too.
Yeah.
And like X Chasers, there's a lot of good guide services in Minnesota that like chase feeds, 150, 175, sometimes even like a
There's so
120,
much go into it. So
125.
If you can remember, or
That's
maybe
not
you want
that
to read
cheap.
your post, go ahead and read which goose guide should I go with?
That whole
For
post
people
I
that
made.
the people that might not have read it.
Well,
just give them a quick rundown.
If you're looking for a snow goose guide, I made a post on Facebook. Look up Nick A. Johnson and read what I had to say about it because it's really informative. I don't really want to read through
fine.
it.
Don't read for it. I got all pumped up. Now I just want to do it. Give the cliff notes. There's different kind of guides for different reasons. You
Right,
got
exactly.
The big
So,
permanent
like,
blinds.
We were talking about
good
how like
feeds. You got guys that chase the X. It's like, what do you want? Do you want to be comfortable? Is comfort
Right.
more important to you than anything?
and comfort can be more
Then look
important.
for that and ask for that.
Right.
Ask what you're going to be hunting out of. How
Okay.
are you hunting?
Well, basically, I said there's different types of guide services, and you should know what type of guide service you want to buy because you start looking up on YouTube. You don't maybe know what snow goose hunting's all about, and you're just seeing like big feeds, big shoots, like
Hundreds of birds.
the guys that hunt 50 days a year. This is their best day, you know.
We had that happen. We had some guys fly in. They flew into Sioux Falls from west somewhere. I don't know, Denver or something, or Montana or something. They flew in from out west somewhere. They get off the plane. You know, they rent a truck or vehicle. They go to the Shields. They buy 5 cases of ammunition.
Yeah,
for
people show up with like a
2-day
case.
hunt.
Yeah, like a case a day.
Well, we were watching YouTube videos. And
Yep,
like,
yep.
well, that's your first mistake.
Well, here's what you
And
want
you
to
picked a really bad year to do it.
like snow goose hunting. There's a few different types of styles of hunting that guide services are selling, and you should know what you're buying and what you want to buy. That was basically the point of the post because people post on social media constantly like, anybody recommend a snow goose guide service? Yeah,
For what?
I could recommend 10 of them, man. There's fucking people who are awesome at it. What are you looking for, you know? So here's the type of things you should be looking for, which was the type 1 was lodging and meals all-inclusive style, which, let's face it, like you book 3-day snow goose hunts, those 3 days could all suck. Doesn't matter who you book with.
Right.
But when you book with an all-inclusive, you're going to be fat, happy, talking to cool people at the lodge, kicked up watching sporting events in a big leather,
Right.
like, big leather chair. It's going to be fun. You know, if the hunting sucks, you have fun. So you drive home, you're like, well, that was fun. We didn't shoot many geese. It was cool. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then you got the migrator hunters, which can be lodges as well, but like people who are just like doing a base camp thing, and you're not going to get muddy. Some of them got pit blinds. Some of them got full body decoy spreads because they're good at hunting migrators. Like these guides learned that if you chase a feed every single day, your equipment gets destroyed, your guides get destroyed, and nobody's having fun.
Yeah, you're not sleeping much.
So they figure out how to put up consistent averages on good migration spots. And, dude, if the weather sucks that day, you shoot like 4, 0, 3. And, you know, just those are the spots that you want to be in, though, when the weather's right. So I was trying to make that point. Like,
Right.
if you want to, don't, like, I've seen these posts, too, where people are like, showed up at this guide service. There was empty hulls all over the field. Obviously, it wasn't fresh. You know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, obviously, these
Yeah.
guys don't even scout and put us in a fresh feed every day. They hunt the same field they've hunted for 10 days. Yeah, they are. And you should know they do that.
Did you see all the shells? That means there's been shooting going on. Here.
Right. But a lot of people don't know that. They think you need to hunt like where the
Yeah.
geese have been. Like you
Yeah.
need to hunt the X every day, and they buy a migrator hunt, and then they're like pissed off about it.
Well, those are clearly people that don't do much freelancing, because how many times have you set up on a feed the day before? And we already talked about this. The day before doesn't do anything for the day after. Doesn't mean shit. So you can put some birds to bed. I've done it multiple times. You're scouting them. You watch them all the way till dark. Find out where they left in the field. You set up on what you think is the X, and not a single bird shows up the next day.
Well,
that can happen to guides. Dude, if you're chasing feeds, that's going to happen.
So that's the third category is feed chasers. And like if you're looking for a feed chaser, you book a feed chaser, but you're not going to be fucking comfortable in any
45
way.
45 minutes from a motel.
Yep, everything bad about that trip is bad. There's no lodge, there's no cool other hunters from around the world. There's no steak dinner. There's no leather recliner. There's nothing. There's a shitty motel above a bar maybe. Who knows? Maybe they blocked off some room somewhere for you.
I've been thinking of it for quite a few years, like trying to do a unique experience for that in the spring. I've been thinking about getting the big outfit, big canvas outfitter tents, and then just setting up those.
Like army tents?
Like the guys people use for elk hunting, big white canvas, it's got like a wood stove in them. Like they're really comfortable. They're really nice. They're heavy as shit, but they take a little bit to set up. You can get really big ones, but you have a bunch of cots in there and your little mobile kitchen. So you set it up, and like all my foraging and like my fancy cooking and stuff, like I could do that.
I don't know, man.
And if there might be a small
we ain't hunting polar bears, dude.
People that would do it. I like camping in the field. We've done it multiple times, especially in the spring. We'll sleep right in the camper, right in the trailer, with just an ice fishing heater rocking in there. I love it. You don't have to drive to the field. You're right there. You get to hang out. You make a little fire with your buddies. You're drinking beer over a campfire, talking about the hunt. I love it. I think it's great. I don't need the lodge with high dollar whiskey and a cigar.
Dude. Yes, you do.
No, I don't need that. There's merits to both things.
Not financially though.
What do you mean?
If you want to sell hunts, like you better.
That's what I mean. It's a
have
small,
a nice
it's a small. It'd be a niche thing.
Well,
it's like people that wouldn't book it. You would be honest about what they're getting.
Dude,
But
have I told you the
like
story?
People do it for elk hunting all the time, but nobody does.
Well,
it for like bird
waterfall's different.
Yeah.
You can say all you want about big game, what people do for big game hunting, but
right.
people are willing to pay $400,000 to go shoot a lion in Africa. That's big game hunting.
Right.
People are willing to pay $150 to go shoot ducks in Minnesota.
Horse pasture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
that same guy who's bitching about $200 to go hunt 40 miles from his house is willing to drop $150K to go shoot a fucking gazelle. You know what I mean?
And maybe that's why nobody does it.
Yeah.
There's no market for it. That's very possible.
But dude, I've just seen it where like you have the nice lodging where it's really impressive and that sort of thing. Like I've seen hunters go from having the attitude of like, obviously a migrator spread on a bad weather day. Like, well, fuck, shot 5 geese today, all day. That was a long day. That sucked. Then you walk in, you're like, hey guys, this is the lodge, and they're like, this is? I'm like, yeah, pretty nice, huh? And they're like, holy shit. And you just see their face light up, and you're like, you guys are in rooms 5 and 7, and we got you down in 13. And they go look, they're like, holy shit, these rooms are awesome. And like the whole experience for them is enjoyable all of a sudden, and you're not shooting 3 geese and being fucking miserable.
Right.
Which those feed chasers, dude, they get 3 bird days too.
Absolutely.
It's less likely with feed chasers, which is the point I was trying to make too. Like it's less likely, but man, when you do book with a feed chaser and you do end up with a 0-3-22, like for your 3 days, man, that's not cool. And if you had a 0-3-22 and you were in like a super dope, comfortable pit and grilling bacon and eggs, and like playing cribbage and smoking cigars, and your 3 days were 0-3-22, the same as the person who booked with the feed chaser, like you would have had a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And just like be aware of what you're buying, and
right.
Like be prepared for it. Like there's a chance that
and tip your guys, you cheap asses. It's a lot of work, and the guys don't get paid that much. They don't. Mm-mm. I mean, they depend on those tips to make it worth their while to do
it's
it.
a labor of love.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You're getting paid to sit in a cornfield and entertain people.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I said like give 100%, but dude, your guide should make your day entertaining. Like, you should be spitting
I'll
off.
break into song. I'm not afraid to break into song.
You should be asking what movies they've been seeing. You should be conversing with them, like weird waterfowl facts about stupid grass feeding tribal geese.
Tribal snow geese in
Yes.
Manitoba.
You guys just ruined a lot of good material for your guiding on this podcast.
You assume people are going to hear this.
But yeah. Anyways,
That's funny.
What
All
else
right,
is
what
on-
else we got? on this
yeah.
list?
What else? Yeah, let's talk about
Potential trips. I'm just going to go down the line.
California,
Maine.
So
Arkansas,
you're thinking California?
Maine. Tom wants to do a Maine
Ooh,
trip
you want sea ducks?
because he's
No.
a veteran and he gets a free license
I don't want to
there.
do sea ducks.
Really?
I want to do
Yeah.
early goose in Maine.
Yo,
Early goose in
hometown
Maine.
heroes. You hear that, Tony? Talking to you. Maine, free hunts.
50% disability or more. Free license in Maine.
Oh, free license. 50% disability more.
Yeah.
So if you're at 51, just nip off a
and
finger
and,
or something.
And yeah.
Well,
and-
mostly, like, luckily Tom's is mostly mental.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I was wondering who he was
no, but
talking to over there.
Yeah, I wanted to go to. There's a, if you look at a map of Maine, there's one place next to the border that just had just a river and farm fields. And I was like, well, obviously
Oh, the
that's where
Canadian- the
on the
Canadian
Canadian border. I was
Okay.
like, obviously that's where you want to go to shoot geese in the early
Must be
season.
west of the Appalachians.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I don't know where the.
It's a patch of agriculture in the middle of the woods.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
so-
So Tom's like, he just like texted me randomly like 10 days ago, probably. I'm driving home and I get a text and it's like,
I want to hunt Maine.
it was a pin drop. It was a fucking pin drop. And I pull into my driveway here and I was like, okay, let's look at this pin drop Tom sent me. Maybe he's found some geese today or something on
right.
just driving around. I don't know what Tom was doing. I click on it, and it's like this random fucking place in Maine. He's like, hey, what do you say we go hunt there next year, bro? Because I called him. I was like, hey, man, what's up with that pin drop in Maine? He's like, wouldn't that be dope to hunt Canada geese there? And I was like, yes. I'm looking at it. What are you looking at? Well, you see this spot? Yeah. I'm like, well, here's what we do. We call the gas stations and the conservation officers, and we ask them about hunting out there. Like, I don't know. That's how, like, a crazy psychopathic adventure hunter brains work.
So Corey and I, Corey Jeffers from Jim Shoe, we were talking when we were hunting. It's kind of a fantastical idea. We're like, this might actually be possible, but we're going to have a legit business plan, like how we're going to do this. We want to hunt every state in 1 year. And
Okay.
document it. Well, except for Hawaii, because there's nothing to hunt in Hawaii.
I don't know.
Birds.
They might
There's
be.
no birds in Hawaii.
Did you Google it?
I'm pretty sure there's not, unless
Okay.
there's some invasives. You can't hunt any,
Native species.
native species.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
okay.
the word I was looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
So maybe there's an
Obviously,
invasive out there that you can hunt, but
you can't shoot
nothing I
meanies.
know of. So kind of just like wrote Hawaii off. I can look into it, but Alaska and the lower 48, obviously you can. So it's like we're like, okay, you take everything from east to the Mississippi, study it, find out when their seasons are, how much their licenses are, estimated travel costs, all this stuff, and then I'll do west of the Mississippi. We're just going to try to break down a business plan, then try to go sell sponsors, to get it, and then document it, put it on social media, and make videos and do whatever. I think it'd be pretty sweet.
There's so much amazing hunting around this country that people don't consider. And
For sure.
especially in Minnesota, like a couple months ago, somebody was like messaging me like, I want to move to North Dakota. I got a job where I'm like go to travel sites so I can live wherever I want. I was going to move to ND. I was like, why? Like,
All the waterfowl.
good waterfowl hunting. Like, dude, what? What?
Yeah.
No, North Dakota is not good waterfowl hunting, man. Like
It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's good till it freezes.
It's pretty good. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
so is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's good for, what can we say, 30 to 45 days a year.
Yeah, well, it's
There's definitely
good compared to Minnesota.
If you can live anywhere
general.
though, for waterfowl, why wouldn't you pick a day pick a place that's good 90 days a year?
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot better places. You can shoot your cinnamon teal limit every day, 2 hours from Los Angeles, downtown
Yeah.
LA. Like, what you gonna do in North Dakota, dude? What are you gonna do living in fucking Jamestown? I don't know. Pacific Northwest. You could live in
Drink Busch
Seattle.
Drink lots of Busch Light.
You could live in Scotland and hunt
Nothing wrong with
migrators under moonlight.
That'd be sweet.
You could live in France and hunt over live calling decoys.
Live in upstate New York and shoot 10 geese every early season.
15.
February.
15. Yeah, 15.
15.
Or no,
I was-
March.
I
you
was-
son of a bitch.
I was researching our March trip last
Yeah?
night. Yeah. March 10th is about the latest you can hunt right now.
God, that's
That's
what-
so early. God.
It's just ridiculous. When you posted that, I was like, wait, what? A honker hunt? What?
Yeah, that was like, I think it went to March 15th or something last year.
That's crazy.
Got a band out of that deal. Oh, it's dope.
That was fun watching
But
that story.
yeah, California's like March 7th or 10th. Oregon and Washington, same thing, 7-10. Maryland, you can probably shoot some Atlantic big geese, but
That'd be sweet.
Or
Man.
New Jersey, where they shoot more geese than any other state, right? Isn't that New Jersey?
What?
It might be
Really?
a per
No,
capita
It has to be
thing.
per capita.
but New Jersey's a super sleeper cell. Like, dude, there's sleeper cells everywhere.
Yeah, Idaho's a great waterfall destination.
yeah.
That people
Everybody's real
talk about.
short-sighted though. Everybody's real short-sighted. Like, everybody knows about the good
Colorado.
hunting places you can drive to in 5 hours.
There's decent duck hunting in Arizona.
I
No,
believe it.
There is fucking insane, disgusting, blow your fucking brains out, crazy duck hunting in Arizona.
It's good.
Yes.
Because it's a desert, right? You were like, why would you duck hunt there? Well, the 3 bodies of water, guess what?
They're
all have all the
crazy.
ducks.
They're
Yeah.
crazy.
And nobody hunts them down there. Like, nobody.
And when I do like crazy distance trips, I like that sort of conditions where like they're gonna be here. You know, you don't have to drive 15 hours and then scout for 5 hours to find them.
They
like,
can only be here.
they are
They're
there.
either here or they're not.
Like western states, and there's a lot of public out there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you get way west, and BLM land.
Are you joining in on our endeavor, our nationwide hunt every state in 1 year?
Oh, yeah, I'll help out on a bunch of them, I'm sure. But, I mean, you can fly with a gun, and these days with those cardboard silhouettes, like
I was
big
going to
owls,
ask you about the
just pack 5 dozen big owls, couple dozen
check your
socks.
bags. Very good. They'll fit in the overhead.
What's that?
Yeah, the
No,
big
it's
owls.
like when you flew to Canada.
Yeah.
Like, did you bring your gun or did you use a gun up
No, I
there?
brought my gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got
It's-
to be in a lockable case and all that.
Yep, lockable TSA case, and it's you just walk in, you're like, hey, I have a gun. They're like, all right, go this way, and you're like,
Yeah, it's a gun.
Doesn't
and
the,
everybody
doesn't
runs.
the Vinci case come with a lock?
Yeah, actually, you know what, I think it
yeah,
does.
that'd
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
work out
yeah.
just fine for you. Then
Yeah.
you don't even have to
yeah,
buy one.
because I bought like a
And you had
super.
to take it apart anyways.
Yeah.
So, you know, I couldn't shoot somebody unless I had a spare 30 seconds.
You know what? I bought a really nice like. You got to check that thing. No matter what, you have to check that.
Yeah. They're
gun
not
case.
letting you bring that on the
So
plane.
I bought a really nice Pelican and like made my gun cut out in the foam and shit like that. I'm like, no, what the hell am I doing? You rip all that foam out of that Pelican case, you drop your gun in there, and all your like gear, muck boots, outerwear,
Fits in that
Gore-Tex.
son bitch.
Dude, it's a check-in. You have one check-in. It's
Nice.
a gun. There's a gun in there, but so is all your gear.
Right.
Yeah, and then you're good to
Yeah,
go.
as long as you declare it.
So,
you're
dude,
golden.
when I do like my travel hunting trips, I'm checking a gun and I have a carry-on, and like I got my muck boots and my carry-on, and they're stuffed with like t-shirts and underwear.
I guess I never thought about that. Tom.
Yeah.
Like with the Vinci case. I knew it came with a hard case, but is it a TSA approved case?
Probably is.
I'd imagine, as long as it has somewhere to lock it, I have to look at my case again.
You
know,
need a
it's been
hard
while.
plastic case,
Maybe it's hard plastic.
hardcover case that's lockable.
Well,
As long, I mean,
There
if
it
not,
is.
if not, you drill a hole in it, you put a zip tie
No,
through
it
you're
has
done.
the locks on it.
Does
But
it?
you might as well get a big one though to put your gear in there, because it's $25 or $35, whatever they charge for a carry-on.
per carry-on,
no
yeah.
matter
Yeah. Or
what.
per check,
So
yeah.
you can get away with putting an insane amount of gear in a big fucking gun case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Vinci's break down, so you can find a nook and cranny to. They are sweet the way they break down, the way they're modular.
Oh, yeah, the
modular like
Vinci's?
that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Are we going too long? What time is
I
it?
don't know. There's no
It's
such
about
thing.
10 o'clock.
We're almost 3 o'clock, so we can hit some
3?
other
Yeah.
parts.
We're at
and
3
wrap it up
hours?
about- yeah, just about 7 minutes.
Oh,
we will
shit.
be.
I didn't realize how late it was. Yeah,
Tom's gotta go.
I got to get going.
Tom's getting
Well,
married.
thanks for
He's
joining us.
got responsibilities
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah, I got
There's
to.
still time, bro.
I
you
go
can
for another
back- you
10.
can
I
back
go
out
for
of
another
this.
10 minutes. There we go.
Yeah. Well, I like to keep them right around 3,
Yeah.
unless it's crazy.
We'll
We'll
yeah,
just-
the main trip.
Whatever we
yeah, I
don't
think
hit, we'll
that's
just
gonna
hit later.
What's that?
I mean, I'd be totally down to hit the coast and then go wherever. I've never done
There's
sea
so many
ducks.
eiders out there.
I've never done sea ducks.
I thought they were like this special thing. Eiders, common eiders. That's a great name for them because they're fucking common. We went to the East Coast this spring. Did all the New England states.
Yeah.
You get to the coast, you will see an eider.
You ever talk to those guides out
Did you
there?
do Rhode Island and shit, or what states did you do?
Yeah, so we hit Massachusetts. So we went to Boston first.
Yep.
And then we drove up to Maine.
Yep.
Then cut over into New Hampshire. Drove through Vermont. We didn't really stop in Vermont. So we drove through Vermont
Well,
down
they're commies
into,
there, right, with Bernie?
Yeah. into it's a beautiful country though.
Upstate.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Vermont, New Hampshire is absolutely gorgeous. And then down into
Have to be New York, right?
no, New York's not part of New England. It's
Oh, really?
It's too far. Yeah, no, it's so then Connecticut
Yep.
and New Hampshire. No, I already said New Hampshire, Connecticut and Rhode Island. Yeah,
Rhode Island.
yep.
I thought Rhode Island was
Providence.
cool. Yeah. That's where we just flew in and out of.
Yeah,
the
it
other
was
day.
cool.
I like
that wasn't
Providence.
really our intent to hit every state. It's just kind of how it worked out.
You're going to have fun on your 50-state East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When our the wife and I do our anniversary trip every year, we kind of pick a destination, but it's not really that scheduled. We have really loose, like, where we're going to – we just usually rent a car and we drive.
That's cool.
We don't do touristy shit. We don't go see Dollywood. We don't, that's just not – I want to see, like, real people, real things.
I'll do
that
the
part of
historical
state.
tours,
Historical
especially
tours,
on the East
museums
Coast.
are great. That I need to hit next time I'm in New Orleans is the World War II museum on there.
Nice.
That's amazing. Dude, we spent hours in there and we didn't even scratch the surface.
Yeah.
That needs to be.
We just took
I
a
need
trip
go
to
there
D.C.
again.
this year, and then we spent 2 full days, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. when all the museums closed, and I feel like we hit 30% of the stuff we could have seen.
Yeah,
and
that's
we were only
crazy.
there for 2 days.
Yeah, the East Coast hunting will be interesting.
Yeah, dude.
Sorry, are you including D.C. in that? Can you hunt anywhere in D.C.?
Probably not.
Probably not. It's just nothing but a city, right?
Or swamp?
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. That would be a way to get 50 out of it, though. I mean, if you
Yeah.
could throw Puerto Rico in the mix, they got to have something.
Dude,
Oh, yeah,
It's got to
Puerto
be
Rico.
some
Dude.
whistling tree ducks or
That'd be
something
dope.
going on.
That
some
would be
model
dope.
ducks.
I've been to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I've been to the
Puerto Rico.
dude. I've been to that. What is it? The plankton that glows at night.
Oh, yeah, phosphorescent plankton.
Yes. Bioluminescent.
Bioluminescent.
Bay. Bioluminescent bay, dude.
That
Went
would
out
be
there in a
sweet.
kayak, threw the tarp over the kayak, and just like you run your hand through the water, and it looks like blue lightning bolts
Next time
coming
do
off your
that
fingers.
on mushrooms.
I was not
back
on
to
any sort. Yeah.
Yeah, wait.
No, wait.
Was I? No.
Yeah.
Was it glowing?
Yeah, the guy who brought our bags into the hotel room brought us marijuana in Puerto Rico. He did.
Was it terrible?
No, it was pretty good. It was
Oh,
pretty
wow.
good.
That's good.
I would imagine it's good down there. The Islanders know what they're doing.
Mexico was pretty terrible.
Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I thought that they have cartels. That's what this was their.
Yeah,
this is
the
their
good-
economy, man.
The good
we're-
drugs come north.
Apparently
Tourists. We're
that's
tourists.
like they're the Costco of the dude. That happens.
Yeah, you're
My
a
wife
tourist.
tells a story when she was in Jamaica. They give the white people the bad weed, and they give the dark-skinned people the good weed.
Well, no, you're just.
She went down there with a bunch of her friends who are African American, so they like. She went to buy it. She got some, and they all smoked it, and it was garbage. And then
But how was the Coke?
I don't know. I guess I didn't ask about that. So then after that, they're like, "Well, the weed we got was great." So from that, it's like, okay, apparently you guys go get the weed because they sell the white girls the shit weed.
What's your problem with Sitka?
I don't have a problem with Sitka.
I heard you and David Goose talking shit about Sitka. That's my tribe.
That's my tribe, yo. Were we talking
No, they send
shit?
me
I don't
emails though.
remember.
Join the tribe.
I hear it's great stuff, actually. I don't have a shit talk about Sitka. I think their optifade pattern is fucking money. If you're in a combine cornfield and you throw your jacket down, you have a bad memory like me, you might not find that fucker.
It's
Like,
okay.
They disappear.
It's okay.
I like Sitka. It's good. It's
I
expensive.
like Sitka too. But I see people all the time posting like
Having trouble connecting to the internet. Take a look at the
Siri thought I. No, wait.
I'm telling you.
Alexa thought I said
See?
something. Sitka.
Alexa.
Alexa, yeah.
They're always listening. He's got one
Dude,
of them
they're always
government
listening.
boxes
Yeah,
in his
dude.
bathroom, dude. I was afraid to whip it out.
Okay, but one thing I was going to say about Sitka, because I rock full Sitka, and people are like, is Sitka really worth it? And I tell them, no, Gore-Tex is. Like, anything you buy, whether it's Sitka,
Whatever brand name it is.
whatever brand name is licensed to use Gore-Tex, that is worth it. Like, Sitka just happens to be a Gore-Tex company. They have Gore-Tex in it. It's kind of made for waterfowlers. It works great. If you can find something that you like better, if it's Gore-Tex, yes, it's worth it. Like, because people always just see me decked out in it. Like,
Right.
damn, look at that. Are you sponsored? No, I'm not. Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
it's hate. It's just like
It's worth it.
jealousy and whatever you want to call it.
Well,
like,
you know, people say
it is expensive. This shit's expensive.
You spent $600 on a jacket. Well, that jacket is going to last me 10 years. Well, 5 years.
10.
And they,
5
they
to
last
10.
10. I
But-
assume they're warranted.
But you know, you're a fisherman. How
Yeah.
easily can you spend $600 on a reel that you'll replace in a year and a half or 2
lot.
years?
It's really easy.
You know?
And people complaining that Sitka doesn't work properly, they don't they don't take care of it properly.
What do you mean it doesn't work properly? How does
Dude.
clothing not work
Oh, the
properly? You know what doesn't work properly is my waders that
The zippers
leaked
suck.
in the crotch.
The zippers suck. This wore out. That wore out. Dude, I spent $2,500 on this shit. It gets babied. I wash it like I would wash my jeans. Like
Sure.
if you look at it and it's like, it's kind of dirty. I wash it and then put DWR back on it. You know, like that's gonna last 10 years. I've seen people with like 7-8-year-old Sitka that looks almost brand new because they take care of it.
Dude, I read like the care instructions on waders today when we were at Cabela's because Joel needed to buy some, and I was looking because apparently I either have to try to fix mine or buy a new set. So I was like, how do you make these last more than one season? So I was reading like the care thing on the tag. It's ridiculous.
Like what?
I
Like
don't have
just
this
a
much
bun-
maintenance
yeah.
on my car. Like you're supposed
It's
to
not-
wash it after every use, and then after you wash it, you gotta let it dry. Then you put like Armor All on it or some other rubber product.
Protectant.
Hang it,
Yep.
boots up.
Yep.
There's just like all this shit, and then
Guys
it's
in
like
the
keep it out of
South
sun,
do
keep
that.
it out of fluorescent lights, keep it out of. Jesus Christ, is this a newborn? I gotta feed it? Can I feed it after midnight, or is it gonna turn into a monster?
But you know what, dudes who hunt 60 days straight in Arkansas or 60 days straight Louisiana and shit, they do that. You know, like they hang their boots upside down. They look at them like, oh, it's dirty. I'm gonna wash it. Like, all right.
Well, yeah, and it talks about that. Like, try to
take care of
try to
something.
not use them in dirty or contaminated water.
Right. No, they.
You know where ducks live, right? This
Yeah.
product that you make for this, like,
It becomes natural, like when you use a tool every day to make sure that tool is properly cleaned and put away. It's just essential. Like when I look at my Sitka gear,
you have not seen my tools.
it's essential. It's
I know where half of them are.
It is essential that next weekend I have waterproof bibs. That's essential. I cannot go without that. And I don't know what the weather's going to be in 10 days, and I know what time it takes to get shit repaired from the repair shop from Sitka. And it's not 4 days.
I get what you're saying, but
You know
I'm
what I
just
mean? Like,
not
it's
naturally that fastidious.
I'm not either. There's some tools you can be more lax about that, like my Benelli. My Benelli, I can be super lax about getting that thing clean.
870, bro.
If I see it's getting down to 5 degrees this weekend, I'm going to clean that thing, you know. But, I mean, if it's 40, 50 degrees, we're good. But, like, something you need like that. It's like me and Tom, when we were in that state we were in, Nebraska.
Was it Nebraska or was it Kansas?
Me and you had
Kansas, I think.
me and you both got like full Sitka system, so we'll just like
That's
hang
fun.
that up immediately after the hunt, that sort of thing. And people don't understand too, and Sitka's super bad about advertising this, is what's waterproof and what isn't. Because some's just windproof and
water resistant.
Resistant, yeah. Dude, you start, if like people are like, I'm looking to buy my first Sitka jacket, what should I get? And there's like duck oven, get the Dakota hoodie. Like, no, get something waterproof.
Yeah.
And-
With water resistant, as long as it can shed the water, you're good. But if you're sitting down in a blind or, and you got a
Or-
crease and the water pools
You're
or
fine.
it lays on you, it's going to eventually seep in because it's not waterproof, it's water resistant. If it doesn't have somewhere to go, It's going to go in.
But the
If
thing
it can't
about
get off, it's going to go in.
The thing about those Sitka clothes, though, too, is they put so much fucking DWR on them, like right out of the factory. They basically, every piece, everything they make is waterproof for the first 3 uses.
Another reason you should save your duck fat and just rub all your Sitka when you're done with duck fat. Literally will be like water off a duck's back.
And only buy Filson and then rub all your Filson with all your rendered duck fat because it's all canvas.
Hey, that's actually a fucking brilliant idea.
I fucks with some
thing
Filson,
might
man.
smell after a while, but I bet it would shed water like some bitch.
I like Filson a lot.
Yeah, they got some cool shit. I mean, that's the old school.
Yeah, proper gentleman duck hunting.
Yeah, proper Elmer Fudd style.
Well, I don't know. How long are you trying to keep this podcast
I don't
going?
know. What
Should
do we
go?
Did we hey, we cracked the 3-hour mark. That's impressive.
Should we go to Northside? Keep it going until 3 a.m.
Northside? Is there some sort of gang symbol we could throw out there? Okay, MIG theory, MIG spread. So here, I'll talk about this. So we talked about the molt migration, which people that have heard the other podcasts have heard us talk about it. How much can you, now that we're getting into mid-season, how much can you count on that northwest wind to bring in fresh birds?
Really reliably, but you don't know if it's going to be at night, which it becomes much more common.
Especially if there's a full moon.
A northwest wind and good migrating conditions create a lot of fresh birds every single time. Just maybe not during legal shooting hours.
I don't even think it has to be a full moon.
No, stars. They can do stars.
Yeah, I mean it was waning last night. It was still.
They can do clouds.
It's still. I walked the dog at 5 this morning.
It was really bright today.
And it was like I was like
I noticed that.
I was
too.
like I don't even need flashlight or anything. I was down in a park, which is normally pitch black, and it was like I'm watching the dog shit and not looking for it.
Yeah, they said it was supposed to be
bro.
full clouds this morning. I was like, the migration won't roll till later in the afternoon. It was pure clear.
Yeah,
fucking weatherman, dude.
Got you again, Dave Dahl. Fucking Dale's drinking buddy.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Man.
Tequila shots at Dave Dahl.
You just text me an address where I can get him.
Where I can get him. I don't know where he lives, but he showed up at the resort I was staying at.
That motherfucker has ruined at least 40 of my goose hunts.
Damn it, Dave. Damn. So what's your migration spread? You have this / like migration theory, migration spreads.
I've been asking everybody I know that hunts migrators, what are you having luck on? What do you prefer? That sort of thing. And I get lots of different answers.
I would say, I'm going to interject with the most common one is like giant spread.
Yes, but that's so fucking brand new, and people don't know that. I never ran a migrator field with more than like 100 or 120 decoys till like 4 or 5 years ago. The reason that's cool is because of Joe. And plainly,
damn it, Joe,
it's just fun.
It is. Decoys are cool.
Fun. Decoys are cool. You know what?
Run the trailer.
Here's my thing about migrators. You get vulnerable geese and you get not vulnerable geese. And when you're running like 50 decoys and a realistic goose call, and those geese can look down, hear your realistic goose call, like, man, that's geese down there. Look, see like, oh shit, there is geese down there. 80 to 90% of all migrator flocks make their decision right then. Bing, bang, black and white. And it's like, yes or no. Because you know that goose like hears you. You can see their head turn and look at you and be like, oh, well, look at that. You can tell when they notice you, and then you can tell they make a decision. Their wings stop beating, they start bending, and they drop the fuck in.
Yeah.
That's a yes. Or they don't even call back, and they don't stop beating their wings. What you're really fighting for with the 3 callers, 5 callers is only like 10, 20% of flocks. And my best migrator hunts have been over smaller decoy spreads than you would think, like 30 decoys. 32 decoys is my best migrator spread.
So the one flock today that I guess the jury could be out whether they're migrators or not. They acted like they weren't sky high, but they were V'd up like migrators. They kind of had that body posture, if you will, body language of a migrator.
They probably were then.
That's what it looked like to me. I had 2 dozen floaters out. I mean, we had a shit ton of duck decoys too, but I had the geese. The goose decoys were off on their own, and
they hear it, they see it, they make a decision.
Yeah. I mean,
There's days you see like a bunch of migrator flocks, a lot of them fly right over you. They hear you, they see you, low success. Other days you see a handful of migrator flocks, 6, 10, maybe, high success. You got 27.
I assume it's gotta matter like how long they've been flying too. Like when did they leave? You know, did they just? If I'm hunting Pine City, did they just leave Sandstone?
Has something to do with it.
They're not fucking
maybe
coming down.
Maybe
Look,
right.
They just left. They're migrating. They're not commuting.
How far do they fly?
Yeah.
20 miles?
Yeah. Who
40
knows?
miles?
I'll tell you the ones that
700 miles?
I'm guessing the ones that we hunted that day that ate the moment their feet touched the ground. I'm guessing they'd have been on the wing for a while.
I would have guessed too. Yeah.
They were hungry.
Yeah, they probably crossed a Great Lake or two.
They
to
were
get that
starving,
far,
dude.
yeah.
Like they
But
were walking away from us, like eating grass as they were walking away from us. It was crazy. What's
So-
your no scouting method?
I just wrote that because I'm having a tough time this year. Having a tough
Doing
time
what?
not burning through my money and my vacation time from work like a madman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've got a bunch of PTO, like 4 weeks a year. I got a full-time job, and I can call in
Sure.
a reasonable amount of times without getting
With the bird flu.
without getting fired. And but still, I get that money. I save it. I'm reasonably well at saving for the hunting season, and the PTO, it's all ready to go. And I just fire, burn it, throw it onto a bonfire. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying this year to be smarter about the investments I make in hunting, because I don't know the last time I ever took a 5-day snow goose trip in March, because everything's burned September to early November. So I've been doing saving. Dude, you know what it is in early season? Everybody's trying to get out. For every 40 bird feed, there's 7 dudes chasing it. Well, this time of year,
Right.
for this time of year, for every 400 bird feed, there's 0.25 people chasing it.
I keep running into those 0.25.
Well, yeah. The ratio's way better though, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been trying to save my scouting money for this time of year. All my early season money I use for traveling and going to areas that are just better opportunity. Hey, instead of scouting for 3 weeks straight and fighting over a field and then the roost gets busted, why don't I just go here? And it's half the price.
I have something similar. So that spot I was hunting last week in the shall remain nameless, we hunted that same area the weekend before, and we did well. I was holding a bunch of birds. Now, the weather in between the weekends gave me no inclination that there wouldn't still be birds there. So when we talked about who's going to scout what where, I'd kind of brought up, well, why don't we just go check out where we hunted last week? There was a crap ton of birds. It's the only spot around that has crops off. I don't think a shit ton has changed in a week. It's been raining a bunch. I don't think a ton of new crops have probably come off. Maybe they have, but it's a good place to start, right? Let's just go there. Well, about this, then maybe go try this area. Okay, it's fine. Drove around all day long. Didn't find shit. Found a couple feeds. Got turned down. Whatever, keep driving. Why did we hunt where we hunted last weekend? Because that's where birds were, and we knew we could give permission to it because we'd already hunted it one weekend.
Who's to say
if we'd have just started there, could have saved myself an entire tank of gas and a lot of time.
Who's to say they weren't 22 miles away? Just
It's true.
Right outside your
Well,
scouting range.
Why not just start there instead of starting a total alien area?
Dude, they know. They know.
Well,
These birds
they didn't
know.
they were there again, so they were there.
Birds fucking know.
They do know, but my point was why not start there?
So mid-season
That
updates.
could have saved me some money.
Mid-season update.
Yep. That is mid-season update. There's birds around. You
So
just
everybody
gotta-
go hunt Kentucky. You're not Kentucky. Kansas? Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah. All
the birds are in
where-
Nebraska.
And
right
Maine.
now.
And Maine.
And Maine.
In
In that one border area.
Yeah.
Where
Right
the
up by the-
agriculture is.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
But no, we were talking about migration
Spreads. Yep.
How big spreads are not important. As
Do you
might,
think it matters?
As you might think, yeah. For
What-
10% of
okay,
the
how about
flocks.
this? How
for
about this?
10%.
What if you're not that good at calling? Would you be better off with more decoys and less
Yes.
calling?
Yes.
All right. Well, there you go. So
You
kind
would
of be
be.
honest with yourself and your ability to call.
It's true.
And
Sometimes I don't
if you're
think
not
about
that, if
hunting
you know
from
you're
the
not that good at
pork
goose
collar.
calling, but you want to get better, why don't you just contact Nick A. Johnson and he will give you a 1 hour lesson for how much? $60?
That's drop in the bucket.
$120, I mean. I get 30% of that.
No, I did. Man, did I book a lot of calling students off of that
I just
podcast.
recommended that podcast today to somebody. This lady I was talking to, she said she just bought her first call. I'm like, is it a short call or a long call? I go, is it a short read? She goes, I don't know. She's like, I got it at, I can't remember what she said she got it at. I said, is it short or long? She's like, well, it's about this. I'm like, it's a short read. She's like, I have no idea. I'm like, well, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, but do this. And not just because it's my podcast, but find the one with Nick Johnson. It's like 30 minutes long.
The how-to, but
The
it doesn't
how-to.
say what we're how to build a garage with Nick Johnson.
We apparently need to go back and edit that title.
Yes, you fucking do, dude. This is how-to with Nick Johnson.
How to install Windows.
How to do Nick Johnson.
Dude, that routine though.
Bring him a pinner.
After that, after the podcast, I had so many students. I was like busy every night of the week doing multiple students.
That's great.
And my routine got so tight that I started looking for like DVD manufacturing companies, and I'm still looking for
Did you get any hits on that?
Yes, but
Sweet.
you would not believe like how many like independent cameramen, editors exist on the planet.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually. That seems like a thing that would be pretty. I mean, anybody with
Freelance,
the camera and
freelance.
Yeah, that's
Freelance
what I mean. Anybody
photographers.
with a camera and an Adobe Suite could do it.
Yeah, like here's what I'm looking to do. Like, all right, cool, man. Well, I'm a freelance photographer, and I'd love to get some of your hunts on film. Like, okay. You're not.
You didn't
can't
listen to what I was saying at all.
You can't provide any service I'm looking for. You want to come hunting with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. For free, maybe even getting paid. No. All right. Thanks. Yeah. I'll
thanks
talk.
for your time.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Thanks for following up with the voicemail.
Thank you. Come again.
Yeah. But like everybody I called was like a freelance photographer.
Oh yeah. It's easy to be a freelance anything.
Of course, like
Yeah.
a freelance
It's
guy.
freelance, bro.
Yeah, dude.
It's free.
Yeah. And his name is Lance.
We got some funny stories, me and Tom.
If you got a couple quick ones, let's
Yeah.
go. Or we can save it for another time. I mean,
The time I
when I have you on, I do well.
Yeah.
My downloads are well, so I
Jesus,
see
it's
no
what time are we
reason
at?
to not keep telling you.
Yeah.
Come on.
You keep asking that. I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably we're over past 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someday we'll tell the story of when me and Tom rolled in the ditch in North Dakota.
No, Nebraska.
That was North Dakota. It snowed. Thomas. No, it was it was Nebraska.
Nebraska. Goddamn Nebraska.
Goddamn Nebraska.
His plan to keep it quiet.
And we shot like the most beautiful blue geese from the truck that had blown a tire. I woke you up by rolling into the ditch.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's always exciting.
Yeah, dude. Me and Tom got stories on stories on stories, dude.
Next time.
Next time.
Next time.
Time.
Full Scale Outdoors Podcast.
We should do like a straight trip stories because
Yeah, we could
me and
definitely.
Tom have been doing like crazy trips since we were fucking
16.
15, 16
We
years
should
First
old.
time out to South Dakota with pre-cell phone out to South Dakota. Nick's 16. I'm 14.
Let's plan a crazy
With a-
trip, and then we can do it
With a bunch
in
of
the crazy
adults
trip.
drinking
To Maine.
peppermint schnapps.
to Maine.
I could probably be talked into that.
All right.
So
But yeah, obviously this fucking went on too long.
yeah, well, whatever. So go find Nick A. Johnson on Facebook, Instagram. Is it the same on Instagram? Or are you just Nick Johnson on Instagram?
Nick A. Johnson on Instagram. Nick_A_ Johnson. Snapchat
Those are
and Johnson2367. Thank you if you've made it through this far of the podcast. Jesus Christ.
It's not hard. People love this shit.
Let's talk about some black and white silhouettes for the last 27 minutes.
And how they're the only
I think
decoy
they're an
you
important
need.
tool to have. I don't own any, but the last field we hunted, I'm like, you know what would really look awesome in this field? Some black and whites.
Yeah, let's keep going on
I
it.
need to go with some big L's. Big L's? All right, we're done, right?
We're done. We're done.
Peace out.